fielder outside of JP, right, when he's healthy. I don't know what Polanco's going to look like at third. I don't know what Bliss is going to look like at second. And I don't want to think that this is going to be a team that's going to depend so heavily on pitching and not have the defense to back it up. Like, I don't like that combo. If you're not going to be knocking it out of the park, literally and figuratively, offensively, then I need to know you can have run prevention. Defensive issues do not strike me as run prevention efforts. You know, like you're pitching it's almost like you're taking away from pitching with bad offense and bad defense.
Yeah, well, Polanco, that's an interesting one because I feel like the move from second to third, right? You're in the corner. It's hot over there, right? And we all know that. But I feel like with his knee injury in the past, man, there's going to be a little less movement over there. He might be okay. The big one to me is just second base, like you mentioned. Is it Demo? Is it Bliss? We know that Demo defensively is good. We know offensively Bliss can get on base and still, and steal some bags and stuff. Like, what type of approach are you going for, and how deeply do you look into these spring training numbers like you just mentioned? Mm-hmm. If we're going off of numbers, then we're going to say Demo's out, Ryan Bliss is in, he's having a better spring training. But Demo has a resume. Demo has clutch moments for you in multiple positions and in the batter's box. That is what obviously would give him the nod. With Dan Wilson coming in and hiring Edgar and trying to make this thing his, is he willing to make that type of move? We're watching the Seahawks make moves, right? Getting rid of Geno, DK, bringing guys in. We're going to talk about some of the moves that they've made already. Is Dan Wilson the type of guy to assist in that? Granted, the numbers, the people upstairs are going to tell you kind of what you should be doing or whatnot, but how much influence does Dan have in kind of changing this thing? And are they willing to make a move like that at second base, going off of what we saw in the spring? That is the toughest part about baseball, is that your guy who's been on your squad for 3-4 years can go and have a horrible spring. You're going to ride with him because you've seen him for 300 games. You know what he can do. So that's going to be the biggest question for me is, what are you doing at second base? I think most people are asking that. Yeah. How's Polanco going to look at third? And can you just come out and be competitive? You don't have to come out and win 10 games in a row. It's not going to happen. But be competitive, and Logan set the tone. Open day.
All right. Someone said 2 of 32. I know, but again, it's spring training numbers. Like, it is really annoying to have numbers in front of you that you also know you can't make much of. Yeah. It's this. I mean, it's.
But 2 of 32, you got to look at that a little tougher.
Well, you do a little bit tougher, right? But I also wouldn't let myself, like, let's see, Bliss is having a good camp. Tellez, Miles Masterboni. Like, you have guys that are having good camps where it's like, yeah, I'm not expecting Miles here to hit 429 this season.
You're not?
So if I can't look at the positive, then maybe I can't read too much into the negative. I feel like I've learned so many lessons about not getting excited or not getting too down on spring training. I've made that mistake so many times. So I'm trying to ignore it, but I was listening to Brock and Salk this morning talking about some of the errors and being like, okay, I'm not feeling good about, where this team's at defensively, but do I trust that, Perry Hill's so great with the infielders, maybe they can turn this around? Do you not look into spring training numbers? So I don't know. I mean, I think this team has a lot to prove very early. And I think that the one thing I can say definitively about this team is that we will all be watching it with a more critical eye earlier than expected.
Baseball and basketball are such timing and rhythm type of sports. With football, you go out there and you try hard, you run fast, you catch the ball, you just exert extreme effort, and you're going to put good stuff on film. Baseball, man, that's why it's such a slow ramp-up period for these guys, right? You got to see more pitches. Got to get your legs under you defensively. Watching the ball come off the bat. There are just things that you have to do to get into your rhythm and your flow of things. But when you see 2 for 32 and you hear about the defensive mistakes that are going on out there, you can't ignore it. You should be a big concern because at one point, the Mariners are one of the best defensive teams in the game, right? Obviously, pitching helps as well, having the guys on the mound do their thing. But at one point, they were considered one of the best defensive teams. So if you are good on the mound and you are great defensively, it's going to allow you to ramp up a bit more when it comes to those bats, even though that's something that we're looking forward to see if they can just come out and be lukewarm with that whole thing. So there's 2 things they need to be.
Yes.
Because we know what they're not going to be. They're not going to be one of the best hitting teams in the game. All right, at least we're assuming that, right? So if you're not going to do that, be good on the mound, be good defensively. So you got to put the best defensive guys out there as well.
Well, and again, I'm glad you mentioned Randy Arozarena, who's had a solid spring so far. We talked with Gary Hill yesterday, who said, hey, I couldn't tell you like the specifics of what Julio's doing behind the scenes that feels different because mostly what's happening for Julio behind the scenes this spring is that he's healthy. I know he was just scratched out of a lineup recently, but I think that was just illness. Otherwise, like this is, a healthy spring for him, which last year wasn't. So sometimes those things can make all the difference. You get off to a quicker start because you're feeling good and you're feeling right and your body's responding early. So, again, I'm excited to see where this season goes. I'm trying to temper my own kind of natural criticism at times and just accept that there are some unanswered questions we'll have about this team entering the season, but also really, really important answers we already have. Logan Gilbert's going to be your opening day starter, and I expect an electric night from him. I expect that if this pitching staff is able to stay healthy, they will continue to be the best 1 through 5 in all of baseball. Those are the things that make me so excited.
Yeah, you got to lean on the concrete stuff. Everything else will sort itself out, and that's the beauty and the curse of sports is that time will tell everything. And in baseball, you have the most time to dig yourself a hole, or the most time to get in front, or the most time to give up a lead. We've seen all of this stuff, right? So time will tell. And I'm just hoping that first week we just feel good about what we're seeing. I was talking about the Seahawks and how they could win 9 or 10 games, but if we kind of see what they're doing and their vision,
You can project.
yeah, I won't be okay when I'm making the playoffs, but I can understand what's going on. It kind of feels like this with these guys, too. It's like, all right, I don't expect you to come out and just be blazing hot, right? But if we can see just little improvements on some stuff, right? Having good at-bats, right? Not swinging at stuff you're not supposed to swing at. Having balance in your swing. The rotation looking good. Defensively being sharp. Then I could take whatever comes with it that first week.
The first week, yes. The difference between these two teams is I will not be entering 2025 with the Seahawks deeply disappointed and upset if they don't make the playoffs, because I think they had to pivot. I don't think that they truly planned on a season or counted on a season in which they wouldn't have DK and Geno. I think that the difference with the Mariners is the expectation should be playoffs.
Yeah,
You've been
of course.
telling, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've been telling, not you, Jerry, Justin, the organization has been telling fans, like, pedal to the metal. This is it. Like, we're turning it on. This is what the rebuild was about. So my expectation is, well, then, is it ALDS?
I think you misunderstood me.
Yeah.
Vision.
You're saying earlier.
Early, yeah.
Yeah,
This
early
is.
in the
I'm not gonna trip off the first week and be like, dang it, we ain't making the playoffs. It's just, can we see little indicators that say maybe the culture is changing, the approach is changing, and guys are making steps in the right direction?
Totally agree. You guys will be able to listen to these games every single day on Seattle Sports, because we're excited to announce that Bonneville and the Seattle Mariners have a multi-year extension to keep Seattle Sports as the radio broadcast home for the Mariners, and I cannot tell you how excited I am beginning on the 27th to have baseball every single day. And even on Mariners off days, you're going to have like extra innings with Curtis Rogers and lots of baseball analysis. And obviously on days without the Mariners, you still have baseball elsewhere in the league. It's just, it feels like spring has sprung. Like the start of opening day also feels like a shift in weather. It feels like a shift to, looking forward to like, oh, it's spring, it's summer, it's about to be sunny, it's about to be amazing. And so I can't wait to hear, the voices that we know and love about this team. Just, I have it on my radio in the background, and it starts to feel like spring and summer too.
Yeah.
So it's really, really cool.
Washing my car. Listening to the game.
Yeah. I actually genuinely, I will be watching these games very closely, obviously, to start the season. But sometimes I love just having it on in the background. Like you're like running errands, maybe you're driving somewhere. It just feels such like a classic way to enjoy baseball. And I can't wait to start that again, and I cannot wait to have it here on Seattle Sports. Let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
The Seahawks are reportedly interested in Lucas Patrick, an offensive lineman with ties to Clint Kubiak. This after they signed Marquez Valdez-Scantling, a wide receiver with Kubiak ties. What's the real headline?
At this point, just bring Gary in too. Just bring everyone with Kubiak ties to the Seahawks.
Well, this is what teams do, and especially in football. I mean, you bring your guys with you. You bring your coaches with you. You bring your players with you. So I'm not surprised at this, but it is funny how if you got a connection to the Saints and the Kubiak, you might just text him, hit him up. He might bring you over. But Lucas Patrick is a 6'3", 313-pound man, 8 years in the league, going into his 9th. Played mainly left guard last year, but also had 88 snaps at center. We know how the Seahawks love to have some versatility on that offensive line. His worst graded game was against the Kansas City Chiefs, where he had to play some guard there too. His best graded game was against the Dallas Cowboys. I couldn't tell you too much about him. I watched the film. He looks decent. Most offensive linemen are going to look decent, but this is more of just saying, you know my system. Maybe you can help develop these guys as well. We talk a lot about the coaches doing the development. The veterans do it as well, especially if you've been in the offense. It's not like they're the main contributors when it comes to that development, but there are little things that a veteran can say to a younger guy that might click a little bit. So this is what this is. We'll see what happens. Undrafted free agent. You know, I got a soft spot for those guys. Lucas Patrick looked good on film. His numbers are okay with PFF, and film matches up.
We will be talking about a potential free agent fit for Seattle at both 10:30 and 10:45. And then we're going to get into a little more Seahawks talk, everything we learned from Brady Henderson at 11. So for everyone who's like, yeah, I love hearing about the Mariners, but also what are the Seahawks doing at guard? I have question marks. We have you covered over the next 30 here. What's next?
Headline rewrites.
Four-star defensive tackle Trayshawn Ruffin flipped his commitment from Texas A&M to North Carolina. What's the real headline?
Not the first time Bill Belichick recruited someone half his age.
Oh, dang.
I should say less than half his age.
Yeah. You see that picture of him and his girl on the beach the other day?
doing airplane mode.
Yeah.
It's where she's on his feet, like his feet are facing up, and she's kind of like an airplane balancing on. You know what? Love is love.
Mina Kimes said it the best. Like, I used to do that with my kids, my toddlers or whatnot.
Oh, I also want a PSA, which I've said last time, anytime I talk about massive age differences. I always see people commenting, yeah, she's just with him because she loves him. Why do you think he's with her? That's all I would like to say about that.
She's very smart.
I'm just saying. I mean, maybe she is really smart, but like people always, like Bill Belichick could date a woman his age, and he's not, and that's okay. That's okay. You love who you love. You want to date who you want to date. Like, it's all good. But let's not pretend that this does not go both ways.
You're only as good as your options.
Y'all needed a woman's opinion on that one.
His options are wide. He's got lots of options. But Trayshawn Ruffin is the kid's name who made the flip. He had offers from Ohio State, Georgia, Texas, Michigan, Florida State. So you know he's touted number 17, I believe, D lineman in the country. A&M spent $10 million on their guys last year. So you know what this is saying. Bill Belichick and that booster club, that collective, rolled in and said, look, whatever you're getting there, we can match it or even give you more. And also, I have NFL connections. I can make sure you're set up perfectly. This is what I was expecting when Bill Belichick got this job. He wouldn't have gone over there if that booster club, that collective, that bank account wasn't fat. He wouldn't have gone there if he didn't feel like he can pull these guys from other programs and promise them opportunities to get into the NFL. Even though these young men are making money at this level, the end goal is still to get your name called and have Roger Goodell shake your hand. They're giving them both here.
Headline rewrites.
South Alabama had their invitation to the NIT rescinded after their spot was given to another team, a move their head coach called unacceptable. What's the real headline?
Even more shocking, someone from Alabama spelled the word unacceptable correctly.
Oh, dang.
This is actually a really
It's
cold-blooded
jacked up.
move. It is
It's jacked
it is
up.
unacceptable.
You see
He's right.
Riverside denied the invitation to the NIT, and then they call up South Alabama and say, look, guys, you made it. And they were excited, I'm sure.
Yeah.
They spread the word, and then a few hours later, they get the call again, and they say, look, man, UC Riverside is back in this
our
thing.
bad.
We apologize for the premature invitation.
It is unacceptable. He's right.
Here's the thing about this. I don't know how this works, right? I'm not in the NIT. Obviously not in the selection committee. As long as there weren't any contracts signed, legally they're fine. But morally, they're not fine. They should have just taken the L and said, you know what? We already committed to you guys. You gave us your commitment. We got to ride with that. I feel bad for some of these young men, the seniors who probably have never played in an NIT and were excited to go. So this is a jacked up situation. No contracts were signed, so they'll be fine. It just looks bad.
It is. And I know some people look at the NIT as like, I don't want to play in that anyway. I get it. But I think that you can't dictate, none of us can dictate how a student might feel, how a young athlete might feel. I mean, these are 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds that are probably like, oh my God, we get to play more games together. Like our season doesn't have to end here. And then unfortunately it did in the worst way, which is being told it wouldn't. And then being told, just kidding, it will. Like, oh, God, that's so awful. And, like, you're right. There is no contract. There's no binding thing where, like, they broke some kind of rule. But it's a horrible look. Like, how is there not someone internally that goes, wait. Before we tell this program that we already told they're going to the NIT that they can and rescind that invitation, maybe we tell Riverside, hey, we're so sorry, but you told us you couldn't.
Yeah, that would be the right thing to do. What's even worse about this, South Alabama, they were projected to win their conference tournament and lost in like the semis. So you get that heartbreak, you get thrown a bone, and then they snatch that thing from you so quickly. South Alabama. If there's anything I can do, man, y'all just hit me up.
Just reach out to you, Bump, if we could just hang out. Is Sam Darnold's former center a fit for the Seahawks offense? That's next.
For Down Territory, going inside the game with former Cougs and Seahawks wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
What's the film study shown you on Marquez Valdez-Scantling?
I like it. He's a player that runs his routes with effort. There are some guys who just look really smooth when they do their thing. He's an effort type of guy. I think he understands how to attack leverage. He's a willing blocker, and that's something you have to do in this Kubiak offense. And he was in that Kubiak offense. The effort is always there.
For Down Territory, every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bumpin' Stacy.
Progressive knows owning a home can be hard, but not always. Like when you're relaxing on your patio, enjoying a nice, quiet evening. So quiet. Except for the sound of the neighbor's party. Which you said you'd go to if you weren't busy. And your quiet night on the patio, that's not exactly busy, is it? Maybe you should just stay inside. At least Progressive's Home Quote Explorer lets you easily compare rates, so shopping for insurance is the easiest part of owning a home. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-275-1728. That's 800-275-1728.
What's up, everyone? It's me, the Mariners Gatorade Cooler, and I wouldn't trade my view from the dugout for anything. Watching Logan Gilbert mid-shutout, taking a breather right beside me, he is calm, collected, and fully locked in. Keep it coming, Walter.
Swing and a miss. Logan Gilbert, 6 straight strikeouts.
And Victor Robles, running by me with the trident in hand. I'm getting chills just thinking about it. And that's not just because I'm filled with ice.
How about Victor Robles? It landed all the way to the second deck.
And when Cal walks it off, oh, you know what time it is.
A walk-off grand slam for Cal Raleigh.
It's celebration time, and they never see me coming. Mariners baseball, Trident Sun.
Don't miss Mariners opening day next week. Lock in your seats for Thursday, March 27th, and check out all the festivities on the first homestand, including Randy Arozarena Cross-Armed Hoodie Night, Friday, March 28th, and Julio Bat Flip Bobble Giveaway, Monday, March 31st to Wednesday, April 2nd. Get your tickets at mariners.com.
Do you want to lose weight fast and keep it off? I'm Dr. Ryan Coogan with Eastside Weight Loss Clinic, and I have a plan that has helped over 4,000 people in the Seattle-Tacoma area lose up to a pound per day. No surgery, no exercise, no box package food, and no drugs or injections with potential side effects. We have a team of health coaches that can support you every step of the way. Schedule your free 15-minute, no-pressure phone consultation online at eastsideweightlossclinic.com and also see our incredible before and after transformations.
Well, and I'm one of those 4,000 people. I'm incredibly proud of my transformation. It started with just a 15-minute phone call where I learned how easy the program was and decided that it was right for me. I encourage you to make that phone call for yourself. It's only 15 minutes, and it can have a lasting impact.
Let our proven system help you lose 20 to 30 pounds or more in just 60 days. You can start our program in person at our Kirkland office or virtually from anywhere you live. Schedule your free phone consultation online at eastsideweightlossclinic.com. That's eastsideweightlossclinic.com.
Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
Music that moves your soul.
Cheerio, baby.
Live at Muckleshoot Event Center, Thursday, April 24th. Get tickets before they sell out at muckleshootcasino.com.
Hey, Bill! Got a leak? Need heat? Call Southwest today.
Southwest Plumbing, the one to call.
Washington State ranks number 5 in the country for auto theft. The most high-risk vehicles are Kia, Hyundai, Ford F-150, F-250, and F-350. Help keep your car safe with these simple and important tips. Don't leave your car running unattended. Park in well-lit areas. Lock up every time. Keep valuables out of sight. Use an anti-theft device like a steering wheel lock. Share this information with friends and family. Prevent the theft and keep you and your vehicle safe. These tips brought to you by the Washington Auto Theft Prevention Authority.
You've heard the saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Since 1926, my family's been helping local businesses make great first, second, and long-term impressions. We know how to make your company look good with quality uniforms, logoed apparel, floor mats, linens, and more. If you're paying for linen service or doing it yourself, let's have the conversation. The information and quote are free, but the savings and service can really add up. Visit suplinen.com. Superior Linen Service. It's what we do.
The Lee Johnson culture to me is empowering all of your employees to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. You know, there are certain things that it doesn't matter what level of employment you are in our organization. If it's not the right thing or it doesn't feel right, they have the ability to take care of the customer and make the decision without asking a manager, without asking an owner. The end result is they can speak to the customer with more confidence. They're definitely more confident in what they're trying to provide the customer, what the customer is trying to accomplish, and just giving them a better experience.
His name is Justin Meek. He's the leader and caretaker of more than 300 full-time employees for the Lee Johnson Auto family. It's the united understanding among Lee Johnson employees that customers are the purpose of our day. The LJ Way is the Lee Johnson Auto.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
The Minnesota Vikings yesterday released longtime center Garrett Bradbury. For some reason, I keep wanting to say Garrett Bradbury. Maybe it's Cadbury eggs. I don't know what it is. Something about it. I want to say Garrett Bradbury. He was a Sam Darnold center last year. This team obviously has Olu and Bump. Curious about your outlook for Olu as he grows into yet another season here. Got more starting experience this past year, but I think a lot of people have their eyes set on the interior line, going, "Who are you adding? This was not good enough. Are there going to be 3 new names, 2 new names? What are we looking at here?" This move comes after sources told ESPN's Adam Schefter last week the Vikings would first try to trade him, who was their first-round pick in 2019. Obviously, that didn't work out. You think he'd be a good fit for Seattle's offense?
Yeah, he could be. I watched a bit of film on him last week when his name first popped up because I think he was released right towards the weekend before we hit the weekend. So I did my due diligence. He's a 7-year veteran, 6'3", 300 pounds. What I liked most about him was his snap count. He played in 1,117 snaps. Sam Darnold played in 1,110. Only 7 snaps without Sam Darnold back there. 6 penalties, 4 sacks allowed. But you put on the film, and he looks like your typical center. You're a bit smaller if you call 6'3", 300 pounds small, right? But when you look at the Eagles' offensive line and what they can do, and just tackles in general, those guys are just bigger. Good hands, good feet, and he's a violent type of player, and violent in the sense that once he gets his hands on you, he's just gonna go. Not violent like a defensive end that's gonna get downhill and just smack you. Different type of player. So now you compare him to Oluwatimi, 6'2", 309, right? Mm-hmm. About the same size. Olu played 435 snaps last year, 2 sacks, 0 penalties. You see the potential in Oluwatimi. And I can't wait to talk to Big Ray about Olu because he is later today around what, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock?
Yeah, we're going to have Ray at 1.
1 o'clock, we'll talk to Ray, and he'll break all this stuff down. He's also going to talk about how the play calling can affect the performance of the line and the quarterback. We touched on that yesterday. But going back to these two, it's when you are evaluating the interior offensive lineman, you got to think about exactly what your offense is going to be or what you want it to look like. And we know that with the Kubiak offense, you're going to need guys with quick feet and quick hands and big guys that can move. Yeah. That's why I don't want to see big boys run the 40 anymore. Run 10 yards and let me see what you can do, because that's what you're going to do essentially when you're blocking. You're not going to get way down the field unless it's an interception or something like that. But they're comparable. The thing that this young man Garrett has on Oluwatimi is that he's just been in the league a lot longer. There's more tricks of the trade. And when you are an offensive lineman, you're feeling leverage and you're communicating without communicating to your guards. If we are double teaming this one technique, I have to know when is it time for me to release and get to that linebacker. If there's a shift, if that one tech goes from my right to my left in a shift and we're running a zone right, now I know I got to post hand with my left to help my left guard out, and then I'll release to that backer to the play side. There are just little things that offensive linemen have to know how to do without verbally communicating. When I watched the film on Garrett, he's able to do that. Most NFL guys know when to release. It's about now just getting to that guy blocking him consistently and making life tough for him. So, no, you have to look at this. There's continuity. There's familiarity with him and Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you look at this position?
Here's Pelissero on Bradbury's release.
I do think that Garrett Bradbury would be a potential option here. I would think that the Vikings will have some level of trade interest in him, but they did sign Ryan Kelly. I think it's fair to believe that Garrett Bradbury most likely will have a new home. Right now, he's still on the Vikings roster, and there's no trigger in his contract, so they don't have to do something right now. But certainly, that's a name that would potentially make some sense. Well,
for all the good that you can see from Garrett Bradbury on tape, ultimately the Vikings decided he wasn't worth keeping. Ultimately, the Vikings decided we can upgrade here, we can do better here. Best of luck, Garrett, with the future, but this was a miss for us. To me, releasing a former first-round pick says that at the very least. I mean, we had Eric Williams on who said, look, guys are free agents because their team decides they're not central to what they're doing to win a Super Bowl. That's why Garrett Bradbury right now is available. Is there maybe a fear that we're just doing change for the sake of change? You know what I mean? Like, is Bradbury actually an upgrade over Olu? Or do we just look at what was such a disappointing performance up front and go, throw the baby out with the bathwater?
I think there's a possibility it's an upgrade. And I think that when guys are being released and there are names out there, you have to look at everybody. You don't a guy maybe you don't look at as Nick Harris, who was here a couple years ago, right? If you already have film and you understand who that person is, or you feel like you do, you just don't look at him. In this situation here, I think because of where he's coming from, the success that the Vikings had, naturally you're going to say, let's take a peek. Let's see what's going on. And the center and quarterback relationship is essential. We talked about the receivers and the quarterback yesterday and how that's essential, the quarterback learning the receiver's body language and understanding when to get rid of the football. The quarterback has to be able to trust the center because there are times where the center is going to make the call to shift the protection or whatnot. And if you have a center that is knowledgeable enough to do that to where the quarterback doesn't have to worry about that every single time, that's one less thing for him to worry about. He can focus on the defense and try to read coverages before the snap is made. We could be. But I think that when you are the Seahawks and you're in this situation where you've had one of the worst offensive linemen for the last couple of years, you better be looking at everybody. Now, whether you bring them in to be on the team or not, that's a different story.
Sure.
That goes off of film, that goes off of money and what the coaches think. But no, if you are an interior offensive lineman and you are on the market and you've had any type of success,
You might be a Seahawk.
you just might be a Seahawk.
I mean, it is. We had Brady on yesterday who said, look, this team really wanted Will Fries. They were willing to pay Will Fries, potentially as much as Minnesota did. Minnesota, I think that's still the longest contract given out to any free agent at 5 years. It was $18 million per. That was a big deal. It would have been, I believe, the biggest deal given out to any free agent offensive lineman under John Schneider, if I'm remembering correctly. It would have been a massive signing and a shift in their approach. Will Fry's not available. And now it sure seems like, according to Brady, they're looking at maybe an approach people don't love, which is, well, we're not going to throw money at the problem.
Yeah.
We're going to look for names that may not excite you. We're going to look at our own guys and wonder if bringing in new coaches changes that. Is there the possibility that scheme changes things?
Yeah, for sure. Scheme changes a lot of things. If you are, say, there's a reason why Philly has the biggest offensive lineman in the game, because they like to run that thing up the middle. They like to pin and pull and do that good stuff. Every team does a little bit of everything. Mm-hmm. When I just say Philly likes to pin and pull, that's not all they do. Some of Saquon Barkley's biggest runs are him running outside zone, but they have a body type that they like for their offense, and it's because of the scheme. With this offense, you can get away with having smaller center and guards because those are the ones that can move a bit better. It'd be nice to have a 6'5" guard that's 330 pounds that can move. I'm sure he's out there, but those guys tend to get locked up on long-term deals and play football for a while. So scheme determines everything. If I look at let's say a 49er scheme offensively, as a receiver, you don't have to be really fast in that scheme. You just don't have to be. You can be football fast, which is not 40 fast, right? 40 fast, 4.3, 4.2. Those guys on the outside, they look good. But football fast is just knowing how to get across the field, filling the zones, just thinking quickly. Therefore, your body is responding accordingly. So, yeah, scheme has to do with your personnel. And in this personnel, you can get away with smaller interior linemen.
Clint Kubiak, new offensive coordinator.
Excuse me, in the scheme you can.
Clint Kubiak, new offensive coordinator. Clearly, there is a comfort level when you know and trust people. He brought over his offensive line coach, quarterbacks coach. They're interviewing former offensive linemen with the Saints. Marquez Valdez-Scantling was a Saint last year. So there is comfort and familiarity. Is there a chance that that exists for a quarterback and his center too? I mean,
Yeah.
regardless of whether the Vikings felt that they could comfortably move on from Garrett, Sam played behind him all year.
You want to hear something weird, okay?
Yes.
Something weird.
Yeah.
I was in high school. I played quarterback in high school. My freshman and my
coulda gone to Temple,
senior
which
year.
upsets me.
Could have went Temple or Indiana, right? But I didn't want that responsibility. But I played center, and there was my center was Louis Campos. Every time I played quarterback, he was my center. One day he got hurt, and Ryan Yoshida had to be center, and it just felt different. The communication was different. My hand underneath his butt felt different. Everything just felt weird. He's taller. He's a bit wider.
It's just not the same.
It just feels different. There's a reason why when one center goes down, the quarterback grabs the next guy and they're doing snaps on the sideline because it's just a familiarity. I know people will say, well, it's just snapping the ball. It is, and they should be able to execute it. But being familiar with that rear end, Stacy, is something special.
And that sounds silly to hear Bump say it, but I really do think that there is something real to that where, maybe a guy doesn't excite a certain fan base, but if there's familiarity and trust between the quarterback and him, between an offensive coordinator and him, it ends up being a good fit. So I'm curious to see whether or not Garrett comes in for interviews, whether or not there's competition added to that group with Olu. Obviously, there are some other offensive linemen we're going to talk about as well. In fact, Bump says the Seahawks could really miss on this one. I'm keeping that intentionally vague because he's going to explain what he means next.
Breaking news. We're excited to announce a multi-year partnership extension between the Seattle Mariners and Seattle Sports / Bonneville Seattle. So all Mariner games will continue to be heard on our platforms, including 7:10 a.m., the Seattle Sports app, and seattlesports.com. And the 2025 season will mark the 35th year as the flagship radio home of the Seattle Mariners.
Stay with Seattle Sports for updates and analysis. Read more at seattlesports.com and on the Seattle Sports app.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it. Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Ooma. What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud Phone System. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very...
Calm? I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
I'm Sia, and I support Humane World for Animals, formerly called the Humane Society of the United States. Together, we have created a new version of Peter Gabriel's beautiful song, Salisbury Hill, to celebrate Humane World for Animals and everything they do. Enjoy the song and join us in helping Humane World for Animals end animal cruelty.
Meanwhile, at Xfinity.
So, influencer life going well?
Oh, yeah. I'm up to 32 followers.
Oh, that's something.
Yeah, posting my tap dancing videos is easier than ever because we engineered Xfinity Internet with 99.99% network reliability.
Plus, Xfinity Mobile with Wi-Fi Power Boost gives you ultra-fast Wi-Fi at home and on the go. But wait, tap dancing? You don't tap dance.
Hey, what I lack in skill, I make up with passion. Do more of what you love and love how fast you do it with Xfinity Internet and mobile. And now through April 21st, get 300 megabit Xfinity Internet and 1 unlimited mobile line together for $25 a month for 1 year and save $1,000 in your first year over Verizon and AT&T. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Savings compared to Verizon 5G Internet plus 1 unlimited welcome line and AT&T Internet 300 plus 1 unlimited starter SL line. Xfinity Internet required. Actual speeds vary. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabits of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual savings vary.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed mold, mildew, bowing walls, or water in your basement? I hope not, but if you have, your basement is losing the war against groundwater. That's where Groundworks comes in. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to waterproof your basement and stabilize your walls. Schedule your free inspection at groundworks.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
4 Down Territory, going inside the game with Michael Bumpus.
I like this. More quarterbacks should start doing this.
Every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bump and Stacy.
I just had Asset Roofing come out and do a full inspection on my roof because I wanted to be proactive and handle any small problems before they became big problems, and they were extremely professional with their communication and recommendations. You really need an expert on your side, and Asset Roofing is on mine. Allow them to work for you, too. You can find out more at AssetRoofingCo.com. That's AssetRoofingCo.com.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
Looking for the perfect engagement ring? At Shane Company, we know this is an exciting time. It can also be overwhelming. Customers say this a lot. Where do I start? How do I choose? At Shane Company, this is where the magic happens. Since 1929, we've been experts at helping customers find the perfect engagement ring. We invite you into the design process, help you pick out the perfect diamond or colorful gemstone, and choose a style that speaks to you. Come see us in store and at shaneco.com. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
The brackets are now open. Compete in the Seattle Sports Bracket Bucks presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort. Head to seattlesports.com/win to pre-register. Receive your bracket and compete for your shot at great prizes. The grand prize winner from the 64-team bracket will win $1,000 in Visa gift cards. But if your bracket is busted in the first round, we have other ways for you to play too. Register and find complete rules at seattlesports.com/win.
John here with Happy Hauler. We want to help get your unwanted items to those in need. Furniture and household items you plan on throwing away? We'll take them and prioritize donating and recycling, keeping items out of the landfill, and giving useful items a second happy home. Happy Hauler is Seattle's eco-friendly junk removal. We work with over 20 nonprofits all over Western Washington to donate used items. Make yourself, your community, and the planet happy. Reclaim your space. HappyHauler.com, hauling with a heart.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bump and Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Bump, you found yourself thinking they really can't miss on this one. Or they really can miss on this one.
Yeah.
And I found that a very ominous line, but also a very interesting one. Tell me what you were thinking about when it comes to the Seahawks.
We're spending a lot of time talking about offensive linemen, and naturally so. You had one of the best in the game, worst in the game, the last 2 seasons. And there's a big gap between like the really best offensive linemen, the next best, and then everybody else at whatever position you're talking about. It's just hard. Same thing with receivers, right? There's like 3 really elite ones. There's like 8 really good ones. And then a lot of these other guys are average, and then there's below average. It happens everywhere. But I'm watching film. I feel like I say I watch film a lot.
Be true to yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I watch Real Housewives a lot.
Well, I'm watching film, and I'm trying to sort all this out. Who's the best one for this guard for this team? Is it Hernandez? Is it Whitehair I've been looking at? Reisner, Eichenberg. I'm watching their film. I'm looking at their PFF numbers, and I'm texting Big Ray on the side. That's my process, all right? Numbers, film, Ray. Let's make this make sense. And the more I look at Tevin Jenkins, the more I appreciate who he is on paper and who he is when I watch the film. Out of all of the guys who are left, these guards who are left, this is the one that can move things the most. This is the one that the Hawks should just be zeroed in on and saying, we're not letting him leave. You come to the facility. I know this already happened, but if I were them, you come to the facility and we are working something out. He's only going to require about $4 million or something like that, anywhere between $4 and $6 million. I say only like like it's a little, but it's not my money.
I mean, relative
in
to
comparison
how much
to everyone else, right? These other guys will probably be asking around $2 to $4 million. And there's a reason why he can ask a bit more, because he has better hands, he has a better base, he's good in the screen game. He is the guy. If they don't get him, then I'm going to be disappointed. But there are also reasons why you're not able to acquire a free agent. Maybe he just don't want to play here. Maybe he doesn't like the offense. Maybe he didn't like John or Kubiak, whatever. He still has to make his decision. But if I'm the Seattle Seahawks, this is it right here. You have to get him. Now, there are guys afterwards who we'll talk about, Hernandez and Whitehair and Reisner and Eichenberg, and another guy's been named to the look or the mix that you could be okay with. But with what's available, best available, you got to do everything you can to get Tevin Jenkins.
I know that for a lot of people, it feels like these are replaceable names. Like if it's a name that doesn't make you excited, you go, well, I don't really care what they do. But to you, it feels like there is a path toward improvement with an outside free agent, even if it's not the one that you originally wanted, which was Will Fries. Or for you, I know that you would have been excited about Mekhi Becton coming here. And I think that while there is a talent gap, an impact gap between getting someone that they really wanted like Fries or getting someone that they might have to get, there is still improvement you can make with a free agent.
Yeah, there is. There's improvement. Improvement with depth, I think that's important because we've seen that there's been this horrible luck here when it comes to your offensive linemen and their health. It's a violent position. That makes sense. Improvement just talent overall and knowledge of the game. What 253 says, there's a series of him being banged up lately. Always got to look at the health, right? Yeah. So that's part of the factors that you have to think about in this whole situation, right? On the players' end, do I like this place, this offense, this scheme, this facility? On the Seahawks, on his side, on the Seahawks side, they're saying, look, is he healthy? Do we like him? There's a courting that happens. And if both sides like each other, right? If both sides say, you know what, I can date this person, I can date this person, then I'm saying this is the guy. You have to make this happen. But if healthy, if he wants to be here, this definitely makes this team better. There are other places you can go and they can still be better.
Sure.
You know, I'm not saying that if this doesn't happen, then we are doomed. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that off of everything that I'm seeing when I watch that film compared to all these other guys, this is the dude.
I think I'm just looking at it as I don't feel comfortable with the idea that a rookie can help your offensive line. I just don't. And so
even though we had two help us a couple years ago? With Crossen,
with a number
Lucas.
9 overall pick and Abe Lucas, who was probably severely overlooked, having been a Washington State product. Like otherwise, they've drafted a Fetty, who was a 4-year starter, but like I don't like the idea of looking to a rookie as saving an offensive line from itself, particularly when you're getting that rookie not with like a top pick. This is not someone who experts around the league look at and go, this guy's ready. He's NFL ready. Every single person that you are going to draft for the interior line is going to enter the league with question marks. And I know that there is this feeling of like looking at some names. Like I mentioned that I'm moving to a new place, and I have to get a lot of new furniture because I'm going from a townhome to a smaller apartment, and a lot of the furniture I have doesn't fit. So I've been looking for new furniture, and nothing makes me excited. Like I have a budget that I've got to stick to, and like I don't particularly like most of anything that I'm getting. But you also recognize, well, what makes this table $150 as opposed to $600 is the knocks that I might not like about it. So like when you look at some of these names, and if you say, oh, I'm worried about Jenkins' health history, well, that's why he's affordable for Seattle. You know what I mean? Like all of these names aren't going to especially excite you. One of them might surprise you. Yeah. And that's what I'm hoping. Yeah. And if you just look at his last season, played 100% of the snaps like 7 times. The lowest he played was 23% of the snaps. That was the loss against Detroit, so clearly something was up there. But there's been an offseason. 738 snaps last year. It's not 1,100 like Garrett from the Vikings or whatnot. But I'm telling you, he's versatile, man. This is the guy that I'm locked in on if both sides can agree. Health is right, money's right, attitude's right. Go ahead and get him. Stacy, I think you might want to say in a slightly different way. It's not that a rookie can't help the offensive line. It's that the offensive line needs much more help than a rookie can possibly provide. 360, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Thank you for reframing.
Yeah.
I don't mean to sound so passive aggressive.
Nah,
I'm
you didn't explain that to him. You didn't explain
but
that.
but you are exactly right. That is what I'm saying, and I hope that that I'm able to make that clear. It's that I think this offensive line needs so much help. And while I am so incredibly excited for the Seahawks draft, I in fact, maybe since they had 5 overall and you're wondering, like, what are they going to do? Are they going to take Anthony Richardson? Are they going to take a quarterback? What's going to happen? Like, I think it's been a while since I've been so incredibly excited about a Seahawks draft, but with a caveat of knowing, like, how many of these guys can save your team?
Yeah, with an offensive line, one guy's never going to be able to do it. You're just hoping that he holds up his part to the group project, and he does it in a way that builds continuity and some chemistry. One guy will never save you on that offensive line.
No, unless you, No, I was going to say unless you were going to go get, and it's like, no, it's impossible by virtue of the position itself. Speaking of the offensive line, Bump already mentioned it, but Ray Roberts is going to join us at 1. Obviously, a ton of invaluable insight from Ray about where the Seahawks struggled last year, where they could add, maybe free agents that he has his eye on, or potential rookies that he has his eye on is helping this club. So we can't wait to talk to him about that and get some insight from someone who's actually played the position and knows more than all of us. Before we get to it, though, we got to talk about how Sam Darnold, the most important piece added in free agency, actually fits into the Seahawks offense. That's next.
Opening day is almost here, and we're sending one of you and a friend to experience it like never before.
Swing and a drive, deep to left field.
With front row access to all the opening day ceremonies, from player introductions to Ichiro's ceremonial first pitch, all from the field. To enter, just open the Seattle Sports app, then click on the Win tab. If you don't already have the app, simply text app to 866-979-3776, and we'll send you a link to download. Enter daily to increase your chances to win. This contest runs through Friday, March 21st.
Welcome to Staples.
I hear Staples prints it all for any business.
You bet, and we'll beat any print quote.
So if I had a pizza place...
Staples can print signs, menus, pizza boxes.
A landscaping business?
Oh, we can print yard signs, t-shirts, brochures.
How about a pizza/landscaping business? I'll call it Dough and Mo.
I like it.
Right now at Staples, get up to $250 off your print purchase. Ends 4/5, exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for offer details. Price match guarantee valid in store and staples.com/print. Visit staples.com/price match for details. Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-838-6161. That's 800-838-6161. 800-838-6161.
Hey friends, Stacy Rost here. Who has some of the best deals on new Fords and Isuzus in the Pacific Northwest? Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Who has a large selection of the highest quality used vehicles in the Pacific Northwest? That would also be Wayscar Ford in Auburn. And what dealership promises no games, no gimmicks, and never any pressure to purchase? Yes, that is correct. It's Wayscar Ford in Auburn still. Who's the only Ford dealer in all of Washington to offer a 5-day or 500-mile, no questions asked, 100% money-back return policy? Wayscar Ford in Auburn. They offer free lifetime powertrain warranty on virtually all of their new Fords. Who's the only dealer that will purchase your used car, pay you right up front, and then once they resell your old car, return 50% of the profit to you? Only Wayscar Ford in Auburn. They've given over $750,000 back to customers who have sold them their cars. And finally, what dealership has been family-owned and operated in Auburn for over 103 years? You guessed it, Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Visit them at wayscarford.com.
Free consultations, no fee guarantees, 5-star reviews. J.P. Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains the importance of going beyond these familiar offerings.
Accident victims want an attorney, Tom, that satisfies their needs. Someone who handles those needs with the highest degree of care. Pendergast Law offers the no-fee guarantees and free consultations, but these only scratch the surface.
Okay, explain more.
We make sure that every member of our team is genuinely passionate about helping others. Customer service and communication are our top priority. It's how we take care of our clients so they always feel one step ahead of the insurance companies. Our strong reputation for high standards provides comfort and confidence when it's needed most.
Pendergast Law offers the free consultations, the no-fee guarantees, and of course, they are 5-star rated. But what really makes them different is their genuine passion for helping others. I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law.
we can help.
That's PendergastLaw.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is for you too. Stubborn fat is really hard to get rid of, and then there's all those gimmicky lasers, fat freezing methods, and prescriptions. Imagine a simple solution that takes just one day and provides immediate noticeable results. Introducing ProSculpt. ProSculpt uses air-assisted technology that's safe and gentle yet powerful, delivering instant fat-reducing and skin-tightening results. Performed by board-certified plastic surgeons while fully awake, ProSculpt contours your body with minimal downtime. It's designed to target those problem areas: waistline, neck, face, arms, thighs. ProSculpt gently removes unwanted fat and tightens loose skin with FDA-cleared plasma technology, all in a simple, guaranteed one-day procedure. ProSculpt is one and done. Schedule your free consultation at prosculpt.com for $250 off. For powerful permanent fat removal and skin tightening that works for ladies and you men, it's prosculpt.com.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Brandon Graham has announced his retirement from the NFL after 15 seasons, all with the Philadelphia Eagles. Elsewhere in the league, we're all waiting to see whether or not Aaron Rodgers is going to join him in retirement. There was a report that Rodgers could be mulling over retirement, but otherwise we're all waiting to see if he's going to sign with the Steelers, Vikings, or Giants. Russell Wilson, the second domino waiting to fall.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. I feel like Sam Darnold's this new thing that I got for Christmas, and I'm like a kid that's already bored of it. And it's like, wait. Don't forget, you just got this new quarterback. You got to look at all the different ways that you can use him, what he needs to succeed here, the different possibilities here in Seattle now with someone else under center. So let's dive back in. How is Sam Darnold going to fit on this Seahawks team? We've got really awesome insight from Sports Illustrated's Albert Breer, who has a new column about why Sam Darnold and the Seahawks are a match for each other, which is like a definitive opinion that I like about Sam Darnold, Bump. I feel like a lot of what I've seen are people going, yeah, if he gets the right protection, we'll see what happens, all the way to Greg Rosenthal, an analyst who I love, saying, I think that Sam Darnold is a downgrade from Geno. So it was interesting and we'll start with Albert saying, Sam Darnold and the Seahawks are a match for each other. Like, he likes this match. He said the Seahawks are paying more than $20 million below what a first-round pick who panned out with his first team would cost on a second contract at 28. He's not much older than some of those guys. He's only 9 months older than Herbert, 17 months older than Jordan Love. Seems like a pretty good deal for everyone involved. I know that the focus of that is on the savings, but for what Sam Darnold and his talent bring to Seattle, do you agree with Breer that, this is a pretty solid match?
Yeah, I think we have to start with, again, what was available for the Seahawks in this moment. Did you want to go with Aaron Rodgers? I think people would have lost their minds if Aaron was here. Did you want to bring back Russell Wilson? I don't think that was going to be a good move. Make a play for Justin Fields. And then there's a bunch of other guys who are probably career backups that you could have gone after. So they should have been his main target, and they were. Now, why is it the best move for both sides? You look at Sam Darnold, he capitalized on one opportunity He made $10 million with the Vikings. Now he's about to pull in 35 or 33 or something, guaranteed this first year. Good move for him. You're looking at the Seahawks. Nothing else was out there. You got your guy, and you have a way out the second year of the contract. And if something were to happen in the third year, you're still going to take care of him. So what you got was exactly what you said. You have a guy with first-round talent that at this point of his career will be trying to get his second contract, and you got him for the low of what you normally would be paying that guy. Now, the reason why you got him for the low is because at his other previous spots, he wasn't able to win a job or really put some numbers up there.
Got himself in trouble. Not bad trouble. I mean, he played himself out of a job.
He didn't play well at his first stop and then became a backup after that. So there are reasons why this is the perfect situation for both, because both sides don't really have to commit. One side is committing at least a year for sure, and we'll see what happens. The other side just made the biggest come up of his career so far, right? He's making an extra $25 million this year. And you have an opportunity to establish yourself as a franchise quarterback. If Sam Darnold comes out here this first year and looks good, that second year looks good, they're going to sign a contract and he'll be here for 4 more years. And now you've provided some security for yourself financially with your career, and then also with the Seahawks, you found your quarterback and you can focus on other things. You're always going to focus on the O-line and getting better at what spots, but we know that if you don't have a franchise quarterback, your chances of just succeeding just go down tremendously. So that's why it's the perfect situation for both. Sam Darnold took advantage of a situation, capitalized, made his money, might have some job security. The Seahawks were forced in a position to where their potential franchise quarterback or bridge quarterback left for another gig. You found the best available guy. He wanted to be here.
All right, let's go to a little bit of sound from some outside analysts. Daniel Jeremiah on 40s and free agents.
I've heard a lot of people say, oh, it's a step down, Geno to Sam. And my question is, isn't Geno Sam? I mean, Geno's first good year came as a 31-year-old. That was that was the first time he got an opportunity. What happened? He bounced around. We always knew he had ability. He was a first, second-round talent who had all these tools, but just needed to get in the right situation. Now he's got the knowledge to go. He still has the ability there. And then at 31, he gets the opportunity and goes with it. And then all of a sudden, it's like Sam does the same thing at, 26, 27, gets his, first real supporting cast, and he takes off, and it's like, well, no, that was a one-off. That'll never, ever happen again. I think you're talking about Geno Smith 7 years younger. That's what the Seattle Seahawks did. They're like, we can go with Geno at 34 and pay him this money, or we can take the same contract and give it to Geno Jr., who's 7 years younger.
Okay, Daniel Jeremiah knows significantly more about football than I do. It's not particularly close. However, I will tell you just up front that my first reaction after hearing this sound earlier was, I don't know if Sam Darnold is exactly Geno, because I never felt that Geno got the credit he deserved playing behind such a bad offensive line. You can say what you will about, him hanging on to the ball, but he also went through multiple offensive coordinators. I don't know how many people are looking at Ryan Grubb's tenure in Seattle going, man, Seattle really messed up moving on from him. Like, I think that we can look at all the context around Geno and say he outperformed expectations. Is it fair for Daniel to say Sam is just Geno 2.0 but younger and cheaper? And it's okay if the answer is yes.
Yeah, he's Geno 2.0 in the sense that he's finally got his opportunity.
Yeah.
Granted, he's younger, but it took him bouncing around to a few teams to where, okay, you got a chance now to really prove yourself, and you've gotten paid. If anything, he's kind of taking a jump past Geno because he's younger. And he's put together a year that Geno hasn't been able to put together. But Geno also was not surrounded by the talent that that Sam Darnold had with the Vikings. So I think they're similar. I think they're like half brothers. He's not Geno Jr., Geno 2.0. They're like, that's my half brother. There are some similarities. We share the same father, but our moms are different. But you can tell that we're related. There's some things that we do the same. We have kind of the same journey. Even got drafted to the same football team. So I wouldn't say completely a Geno 2.0, but I can understand where he's coming from. That's for sure.
Let's see. I've got a little bit more here. Let's go to Trey Wingo, who was on with us yesterday, talking about what the Seahawks get with with Darnold.
If you look at this strictly from the Seattle standpoint, at a minimum, you've upgraded by 6 or 7 years in terms of youth and how much longer potentially you might have a quarterback that can hopefully replicate some of the things he did last year for Minnesota, although clearly the loss of DK Metcalf and the release of Lockett is going to have some impact on that, and some of these young guys are going to have to step up.
So again, they upgraded in youth. That much is clear. You can't really argue that. It's just a fact that Sam Darnold is younger than Geno. Sam Darnold is cheaper than Geno. We don't know what Geno's contract with the Raiders is going to be. I'm going to anticipate $45 million per. So you save money and you get younger by going to Sam Darnold. That is a fact. Trey says He's going to need help, though, because unlike Geno, he's not going to have Tyler or DK. Do you think he has the help that he needs now with Cooper Kupp and JSN, or is there more that you're looking to?
He's got help, but it's not the same type of help. That's for sure. If he were to come over here and DK was still here, and I think Lockett is kind of like you can do with or do without type of wideout because you can find his production out there. But the main thing is not having DK. And you replaced him with Cooper Kupp. You didn't replace DK with MVS. You replaced DK with Cooper Kupp. What are you going to get out of him? We shall see. I'm expecting 700 yards, 4 to 6 touchdowns, and I'd be fine with that. He has help, but it's not the youthful help that he had with the Minnesota Vikings. Mm-hmm. It's also he's not going into a situation where the identity is already established. Like, they're trying to create who they are over here in Seattle, and the Vikings were just a year ahead when it comes to the Seahawks. So he has some help, but he needs offensive line help. He needs offensive coordinator help. He needs healthy help. He needs Cooper to stay healthy.
Yeah.
There are some things that need to happen. He don't have the same type of help, though, but he also isn't in that same division either. So maybe it doesn't require the same amount of help that he needed with the Vikings.
Maybe you don't need Justin Jefferson
Maybe you don't
and
need
Jordan
him.
Addison. Let's go to Colin Cowherd. Colin Cowherd, a little critical, not necessarily of Cooper Kupp as a player, but he doesn't quite get the deal. This does relate back to Darnold.
One of the strangest contracts to me was Cooper Kupp. John Snyder, the GM of Seattle, has almost never missed on receivers. Jesus, he's been fantastic with wide receivers. Cooper Kupp doesn't separate. I mean, Sean McVay moves off a receiver. I mean, they re-signed Tutu Atwell because he gets open. They went and paid for older Devontae Adams because if you go look at the analytics, he gets open. Cooper Kupp doesn't get open at all. Yeah. But the Cooper Kupp deal, when you look at the Sam Darnold contract, which could end up being just a 1-year, $37 million deal, if you look at the way it's laid out, do you think Darnold...
Cooper Kupp thing, I mainly looked at his catch percentage. He still creates separation. It definitely does not look like it did back in the day.
No.
Father time undefeated. And then you point out Devontae Adams, one of the best receivers to ever do it. He's going to the Hall of Fame. Devontae's a different type of player. Devontae never relied on his speed or real explosiveness. It's more just his twitch and his quickness. Cooper Kupp made his money being the blue-collar receiver, the receiver who overachieved, the receiver who worked his butt off to be great with his technique and understand how to move guys, and then he got placed in the right offense. Understand that completely. Mm-hmm. Devontae Adams is different. Like, you throw that name in there because they're around the same age. Devontae Adams is just a different type of receiver. He is a better receiver than Cooper Kupp, so it's almost not fair to even compare the two.
Yeah.
So now what are your expectations? I don't expect Cooper Kupp to have to beat guys one-on-one constantly. I expect this offense to help him get open. If he were going to an offense, now there are going to be concerns either way. It's 31 injuries, I get all that, right? But if he were going to an offense where there was a lot more straight up, Dallas, you can even go with the Ravens, even though they use play action, but they isolate the receivers on the outside, and I have to beat this guy one-on-one every snap, I think that I would be even more concerned. Am I a bit concerned with the Cooper Kupp signing? For the obvious, yes. A little bit older, not as fast as he used to be, does not break a lot of tackles anymore. All that is correct, and you should be concerned about that, and we shall see. But from what I understand, this Kubiak offense, there are going to be ways to get this guy open. The emotion, you send him in the flat. Like, I'm not asking him to go 30, 40 yards down the field constantly and beat people. If that's what you're doing, then yeah, you don't understand the signing. But the reason why I do understand the signing is because of his resume. You have to pay $15 million for him. You're not going to get a Cooper Kupp for the cheap. Yeah. Like, even though it is the Seattle Seahawks and he's from here. So I'm not mad at his argument. I wouldn't call it a hundo. I would say that he can still create some separation, but it does not look like it did in the past.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. And I also, to his argument about Sam Darnold, and it's like, what does it tell you if they go with Cooper Kupp? Does it mean they're not investing in Sam Darnold? Of course they're not. Look at Sam Darnold's contract.
Right.
I know that we heard from Jason of Over the Cap, who tweeted out that this isn't unlike Seattle's contracts with other stars, even some of their biggest stars. Like, they typically are going to pay more of that money up front, more of the guaranteed money is going to be focused to the start of the contract. That's not unusual for how Seattle does business. That being said, of course, like, I get the point Colin's trying to make, but I feel like that's also the most obvious thing about all of this. John Schneider came out and said, we had to pivot. Sam Darnold was not plan A. Moving on from DK was not plan A. Cooper Kupp was not plan A. The idea was, man, hopefully Geno signs on a team-friendly deal. Hopefully, we can keep DK and he doesn't ask for $33 million like he got with the Steelers. He's cool with $29 million or $28 million. Mm-hmm. That was the plan for this team. Now, if John Schneider, and I truly believe this isn't intel that we have or something he said on record, but if John Schneider truly believed, like, I can and will win a Super Bowl with Geno, he would have paid Geno whatever he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there is a factor in not seeing Geno as truly the answer for your organization and therefore not being willing to pay him maybe what he's looking for. But it's not like you see Sam Darnold that way. Sam Darnold was the best possible answer when you needed to pivot. Cooper Kupp was the best answer for you when you needed to pivot. That's what this team is doing right now. They're not building up towards, hey, this is exactly how we saw becoming a Super Bowl team. They had to pivot offensively, and so they're pooling resources into making the run game as good as they can and the defense as good as they can, saying, well, let's make this our identity. So it's not, this isn't like stop the record breaking news that Sam Darnold might not be who they had their eyes on from the jump.
Right. I like that. And you're describing that perfectly. And we get that word pivot. And I'll automatically think about basketball, right? Triple threat, and you pivot. You know when you pivot? When your first option isn't open. You picked up your dribble. First option ain't open. Okay, now I got to pivot. I got to make a move. That's exactly what happened here. So I think that's what can be lost when people are looking at this offseason and how it's going down. Why would you do that? Why would you get Cooper Kupp? He's 31. He's this and he's that. Yeah, because DK won it out, and Kubiak and these guys see him working in this offense. Why would you get Sam Darnold? Yeah, because Geno wanted to be gone, and they're not going to bring back Russell Wilson and or Aaron Rodgers or whatnot. You have to adjust, and that's what football is. Whether we're talking about on Sundays, on Fridays, on Saturdays, whenever they play, Thursday, Monday, it's the team that can adjust and incorporate their scheme with their talent are the teams that win the most ball games. Other factors as well, but that's a 100,000-foot view of this thing. That's essentially what this was. This was an adjustment, a rapid adjustment that needs to happen within days. Because if not, Kupp could have been gone. Sam Darnold could have been gone.
Yeah.
And they had to make moves. So with the hand they had been dealt, I'm completely fine with what's going on.
All right, let's get to 4 down territory.
This is 4 down territory. Going inside the game. What former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
First down, what's something every NFC West team will benefit from in 2025? I like this question.
All these teams, the Niners, the Rams, the Hawks, the Cardinals, they get to play the AFC South and the NFC South, 2 of the worst divisions in football last year. So you have an opportunity to win some ball games, to get those, 6 wins that we're hoping that you get as you then battle each other out and see who's going to make the playoffs or not. Here's where the Hawks benefit even more. All right, because the Rams finished first in the NFC, they got to play some first-place teams. They got to play the Eagles, the Lions, and the Ravens. So, yeah, they can pad. They can win some ball games playing against these weaker divisions, but now they got to go see the Eagles, the Lions, and the Ravens. Since the Hawks finished second, they got to go play some second-place teams. The Commanders, tough still. The Vikings and the Steelers. Arizona finished third. They play third place. The Dallas Cowboys, the Packers, the Bengals, and then the Niners, who, if they can bounce back, because offensively I think they're going to be all right. Defensively, if they can bounce back, they play the Giants, the Bears, and the Browns. So every team will benefit from playing the AFC South and the NFC South. Then after that, you got your own problems to deal with. You got to play against your divisional opponents twice, obviously, and then you got to go elsewhere and play against these other guys. So yeah, it's there for the taking. But then because the Hawks did finish second, they're not going to play some chumps either.
Second down. What's another name connected to the Seahawks offensive line search, and what do you think about it?
Dylan Renduns. He is a offensive lineman from the Tennessee Titans. He is 26 years of age.
Okay.
His grades aren't great, but you know what? It's all right. Gave up 5 penalties, or accused of 5 penalties.
He's
I'm not going to say, all the penalties were legit. Accused of 5 penalties. And he had 6 sacks allowed, 903 snaps on the year, 6'6", 301, man. He's better in pass blocking than he is in the run blocking game. All right. Again, try to match the numbers with the film. You can see that. But listen, at this point, we're going to Costco, right? We're buying in bulk. At least we're going to view in bulk. And we got a few names that have been attached to this offensive line so far, and I like the activity. So keep this up, man. Dylan Rad Dunn's, a young man from Tennessee. Like it. I've only watched maybe a few series on him so far because the news just broke maybe about an hour ago.
Yeah.
And so far, so good. Just keep the names coming so I can keep watching film and try to figure out what direction you guys should go with this.
Third down. Polarizing name. I already know. What if Aaron Rodgers, what is Aaron Rodgers at risk of doing with his, we'll call it like a holdout?
It's like a holdout. I don't know what to call it, but it's something.
He's holding up.
It's a hurry up and wait.
Yeah.
All right. So we've had some real notable holdouts in NFL history. Earl Thomas, right, in 2018. And we're talking training camp, right? I'm just going to paint a picture for you. You got Darrelle Revis, 2010. He sat out training camp. Emmitt Smith back in 1993 sat out training camp in 2 games. They were 0-2. And then I read about this when Bo Jackson held out with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because he thought they did him dirty. So he was a senior. He was going to play baseball for Auburn. They said, look, man, come visit the facility on this private jet. He went out there, and he broke NCAA rules, and he was convinced that they did that on purpose so he wouldn't play his senior season and just kind of focus on football.
Maybe.
So those are holdouts that went into training camp and some into the regular season. This is different. This hurry up and wait, this what you call it?
Hold up.
A hold up. This is different because those guys are holding up because they want to get more money. They're like, listen, this is I put in my work. I need to get more money. And most guys on football teams can get with that. They can understand it. Okay, you go out there and wait. We need you out here. We prefer that you're here with us, but you go ahead and get your money. With this is different. With this, it feels like Aaron Rodgers is dangling a carrot in front of a rabbit and saying, man, come get me, come get me, come get me. And now you're going to start creating bad relationships. We were going to talk about Cam Hayward and what he said about Aaron Rodgers, and I think that's going to be a familiar feeling with Aaron Rodgers. Why are you waiting so long? Do you want to be a part of this? Because there are guys who are gearing up to go to work right now. There are guys who are meeting with the receiver group, meeting with the DB group, meeting with the offensive line because they realize how important it is to put in the work individually or off the clock before you clock in and you put in the work. It is huge. If Aaron Rodgers should have learned anything, he should have learned that I need to be around my guys. I need to be around the facility because I can't just show up anymore and just elevate a team the way that I used to do. I have to do a little bit of the extra things. And maybe that's something that he's just not used to because he's always been so talented. When you're not as talented as you used to be, you have to put in that extra work. He's missing out on that, missing out on the extra work, the chemistry, and then some guys might be rubbed the wrong way. Obviously, one guy is. We're going to talk about that later.
Yeah. Fourth down. What's a move this offseason you feel's been completely overlooked?
Man, nobody's really talking about D. Hopkins to the Ravens.
Nobody.
Like, why aren't we talking about this? Derrick Henry went for 1921 last year. Lamar Jackson threw for 4,100 yards, 41 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. You got Mark Andrews, who bounced back towards the end of the season. Yes, it ended horribly for him, fumbling the football, not catching the rock. He still got some years left. Zay Flowers is going to be a 1,300-yard receiver next year. He had, 1,059 and 4 touchdowns this year. And Rashad Bateman's going to be a 1,000-yard receiver, too. He had 9 touchdowns. You throw a D. Hopkins in there, a guy who's going to be crucial 40 yards and in, that's another target for a quarterback who just threw for 41 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. And no one's really talking about it. And it's probably because they look at Hopkins and they think he's old. He doesn't move the way he used to. And you'd be absolutely right about that. But it's about the situation. Like the same way I look at D. Hop is kind of the same way I look at Cooper Kupp. What are you going to ask him to do? If you're asking him to be a number 1 receiver and catch 75 to 85 footballs and score 9 to 10 touchdowns, it's the wrong situation. But they're not going to ask that of D. Hopkins. Man, D. Hopkins come in and catch like 500, 600, 3 or 4 touchdowns, clutch moments in the playoffs or in games when we need you,
yeah,
and you'll be all right.
How much of it do you think is misplaced perspective, or perception of the quarterback he played with? So, for instance, I think Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in football. However, by virtue of him playing with Mahomes, maybe there are people going, who else could get more out of him? And it's like, well, there are a lot of offenses that can get more out of players, even if the talent at the top was great somewhere.
Yeah, and you might be able to get a little more out of D. Hop. I think when he was with KC, he had 437 yards and 4 touchdowns in 10 games. All right, let's add 6 more games to that.
Yeah.
He's around 700, 800 yards and maybe 8 touchdowns.
Which is a great season.
It's just you attach his name with who he was and not who he is right now. And now you have to take that player who he is right now and put him in the right situation. I think with the run game that Baltimore has that the Chiefs didn't have, he's going to be butt naked on Sundays, waving his hands in the air, throw me the football. I'm going to catch it. I'm going to get down. I'm going to let these young bucks and Zay Flowers and Bateman get these big plays. I really like this move. And if he can look like anything he did with the Kansas City Chiefs for the 10 games he was there, he'd be all right.
Getting back to some of our earlier segments now that we have listener responses, I played some sound from Colin Cowherd saying he didn't quite understand the Cooper Kupp signing, says Cooper Kupp doesn't have hands. Like, it's why the Rams moved on. He just doesn't have it anymore. And it doesn't feel to him like they're building up around Sam Darnold, to which my response was, well, yeah. They didn't know Sam Darnold would be part of this team.
Yeah.
Like, of course, they're not building up around him. Look at the contract. Look at the context. Like, this is not someone that they're banking on being in the future. It's someone they're hoping works out. But we have some listener responses about what they are expecting from Kupp. One listener says they think he can be a huge red zone target. How do you see his role in this offense?
Short yardage, boot going across the middle is shallow, your deep crosses, and then sitting in space and just making yourself available. He's 6'2". He's a big target.
Yeah.
So that red zone option is very possible.
Timeline coming your way next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob. Weekdays 2 to 7.
Four-time Pro Bowl defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence is now a Seattle Seahawk. This will be his 12th season.
It shouldn't be a surprise from the standpoint of, like, last year, the first move they made was D-line, and it was to sign Leonard Williams. They're going to build up that defensive line, and, you know, it's actually looking pretty good. We still have a first-rounder from last year that has yet to explode.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
If you've ever wondered if there's something after death, Tyler Henry proves the answer is yes. Be part of his live audience readings and his jaw-dropping ability to connect with the departed at Muckleshoot Event Center, Thursday, July 10th and Friday, July 11th at 8 p.m. Experience this evening of hope and healing, bringing peace and closure to loved ones. Tyler Henry proves our loved ones never leave us. Get tickets at muckleshootcasino.com.
Muckleshoot. John here with Happy Holler. We want to help get your unwanted items to those in need. Furniture and household items you plan on throwing away? We'll take them and prioritize donating and recycling, keeping items out of the landfill, and giving useful items a second happy home. Happy Holler is Seattle's eco-friendly junk removal. We work with over 20 nonprofits all over Western Washington to donate used items. Make yourself, your community, and the planet happy. Reclaim your space. HappyHoller.com, hauling with a heart.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later. Here's how it works. Orchard gives you cash so you can buy and move into your new home first on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then the Orchard experts take it from there. They handle repairs on your old home and make price-boosting upgrades with no cost until close. Once they're done, a local Orchard agent lists and sells your home for top dollar. Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first and sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Ready to find out how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
The nonprofit Puget Sound Senior Baseball League plays real baseball on the best fields. Final tryouts for adults ages 18 to 65 and older are this Sunday, March 23rd at Interlake High School in Bellevue. With 10 divisions featuring different age and skill levels, there's room for almost every ball player, from ex-Little Leaguers to high school and even former college and pros. Get all the info at pssbl.com. That's pssbl.com.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
Our friends at Mazda of Everett always offer you their lowest price. Shop over 800 new Mazdas online at MazdaofEverett.com. Click on Get the Mazda of Everett price for their best deal. Shop MazdaofEverett.com or stop in and meet our friends at Mazda of Everett located in Everett at 11409 Highway 99. If you're shopping for a new car, make sure our friends at Mazda of Everett are on your list.
Hi, Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. With thousands of full replacements with expert craftsmanship and unbeatable warranties, we've been building roofs you can trust for over 5 decades. It's more than just a job, it's our promise to you. Protect your investment with a free Golden Pledge warranty on all GAF roof replacements over $15,000. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to schedule a free estimate. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
Getting a new battery should be easy. At Pacific Power Batteries, you won't go in with a battery problem and come out with a new transmission. Instead, we can test your battery to see if it's actually the problem. Maybe it's the alternator. We don't sell alternators, so we have no motivation to sell you one or even a new transmission. We have load testers and conductance testers, hydrometers and voltmeters whenever needed. I'm Steve Almond, and I invite you to our family-owned Pacific Power Batteries. You can trust us with any battery problem, and we'll top off the blinker fluid for free.
The future is here, so why is your internet stuck in the past? With Quantum Fiber Internet, you can get next-level multi-gig speed on a reliable fiber network. Fair and honest pricing with no annual contracts or bundling required. And whole home 360 Wi-Fi to make sure your devices are ready to take you where you want to go. So you can stream, post, game, surf, like, and love to your heart's content. You do you. Let Quantum Fiber Internet take care of the rest. Learn more at quantumfiber.com. Limited availability, service, and speed in select locations only.
This is The Timeline
with Bump and Stacy.
Brought to you by 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
It is The Timeline on Bump and Stacy, telling you the top stories you're going to see and hear around your own timeline. So let's get started. Of course, the Dodgers and Shohei Ohtani making news here after the Dodgers opening day 4-1 win over the Cubs in the Tokyo Dome. Did you stay up to watch this, by the way?
No, I didn't do that.
That would have been an ungodly hour.
I thought about it.
Yeah.
But, you know,
3 a.m., right? 6 a.m. Eastern time.
Anyway, I could use a couple more hours of sleep.
Yeah, God. Okay.
I really thought we were going to come in to
And
Bump
Bump was
just
gonna be
exhausted, draining coffee, talking about the game.
I watched it last year, and it jacked me up for 2 days.
I asked you earlier if it felt like it had been 130. It's been 139 days since the Dodgers won the World Series. What does it actually feel like? More, less?
Feels less.
Okay.
Feels like a few months. Yeah.
Feels like it was just yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, your Dodgers also got an opening day win over the Cubs. Shohei Ohtani made a surprising admission. He said, "It's been a while since I felt this nervous playing a game. It took me 4 or 5 innings." Dodgers manager Dave Roberts said, "I don't think I've ever seen Shohei nervous, but one thing I did notice is how emotional he got during the Japanese national anthem. I thought that was telling." Two were probably related.
Heck yeah, man. His people's out there. He's the one of the most recognizable athletes in the world at this point. And I love that he shared this information because it just makes him human. Because I can look at Shohei Ohtani, at all his ABs last year, at least the ones that I've watched, same expression, same face, no matter what happens, strike, bomb, whatever. He rarely shows that emotion. I think that's part of his culture too, like the Japanese, like a real humble type of people. So no, it was good. It's nice that he exposed this because this goes to young athletes too. Like it's okay to feel it. I remember telling my son before he had state this weekend in Spokane, and he goes, "Dad, I'm nervous. I've never been to state." I go, "That just means you care. You're good. Like embrace it. You can be nervous. Once you start playing, man, just have fun and enjoy it." So thank you, Ohtani, for sharing this, and I can share this to my kids.
Did you see the video of former Dodger, former Mariner Justin Turner greeting 2 young fans? They had, so obviously he has like the big kind of like brownish orange beard. 2 young Japanese kids, like fans, had fake beards, like little and so he like signaled to them like, "Hey, come over here," and then he gave them signed balls.
That's awesome.
Isn't that cute?
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Next story here. The trailer for Happy Gilmore 2 was just released.
I haven't swung a club in years. I'm a little intimidated. All these guys hit it big now. I don't know where to start.
Come on, brother. Grip it and rip it.
I guess I need to update my happy place to something a little more age appropriate.
Rip the tee off the sledgeway. That's what you're going to see in Happy Gilmore, too. I need to watch Happy Gilmore the first.
Yes, you do.
So that I can
Classic.
figure out what everyone's talking about here. I know it's a golfing movie.
Came out in 1996. Crazy. No, this was one of the movies. I mean, it was like this movie, Tin Cup, and Tiger Woods got me into golf. Like 2 movies and Tiger Woods got me into it. This is going to be a classic. It's going to be fun. You haven't seen the video of him like running up to hit the ball? It's not stationary.
No,
like he runs up and he hits it.
So all of the Adam Sandler movies, I have seen Waterboy or most of it. Same with Billy Madison. I'm like, I've seen part of it. I understand the premise of all of them. Big Daddy, Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, The Waterboy. All of them are that Adam Sandler is loud and angry and maladjusted. And usually his mom is elderly and in danger. And there's usually a really, really hot girl that's involved that is for some reason interested in Adam Sandler. Every single one of these movies. And in every single one of these movies, Adam Sandler, fish out of water, has to figure out how to like adjust to this like world that he's in, and somehow does it.
I don't like the way you're talking about his movies.
Tell me I'm wrong. This is every
You're
Adam Sandler movie that exists.
Doesn't mean you shouldn't
now.
go watch Happy Gilmore 1.
I'll go watch it, but I know right now he's an angry golfer. He golfs angry and he hits the ball really hard. And I'm sure there's this hot girl that really likes him.
No, not at first. Not at first.
Not at first, but I'm telling you, somewhere there's a hot girl, and he makes jokes like, "Well, look at the ball." Like that's for sure a line that he says in that movie somewhere.
Something like that, yeah.
You know?
It's worth it still. Even though you know the plot already.
Will it still be funny?
I don't know. To you, I don't know.
Well,
you're a bit more tour.
My understanding is he golfs, and there is what's his name? Rip Henley. No, who's
Shooter
the
McGavin?
rich? Shooter McGavin. He is the rich golfer who's basically Phil Mickelson.
Exactly.
And Billy Madison. No, what's his name? It is Billy Madison.
Yeah.
Billy Madison is
Happy Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore.
The movie's called
She convinced
Happy
me.
Gilmore.
She knows so much. She convinced me that his name is Billy Madison.
So Happy
Madison
Gilmore,
Productions, isn't it?
Yeah.
Happy Madison.
So Happy Gilmore beats him by like tapping into. I haven't figured it totally out. Hockey.
Yeah, he's a former hockey player.
Yeah.
So he
I missed
uses
that part.
some hockey, vibes to
I'm
get
not
him to
hating on
play.
it. Someone said Stacy's being a hater. No, I can just tell you exactly what these
You know
movies
what?
are about.
You know what I'm
without
gonna
having
do
watched
to you
them.
right now? All your reality TV shows.
Yes.
Get 10 girls, sit
Yeah.
down at a table,
Yes.
gossip about each other,
Yes.
separate into smaller groups, gossip even more,
Correct.
and then go to the reunion and someone's fighting.
Yes.
All right, as long as we can do it, as long as we can both do it,
And
we're
none
good.
of that bothers me. None of it bothers me. Someone said, Stace, you're not wrong, but it's also a bad take. Happy Gilmore is unequivocally a top 3 comedy of the 90s, possibly top 10 all time. All time?
It's a good one.
I mean, I'll go watch it. I'll watch it because I know that it would make Matt happy for all of us to come in and talk about the sequel together.
Watch it for Ben Stiller.
Ben Stiller's in it?
Ben Stiller's in it.
He is.
What's he play?
He plays like a nurse. He's the grandma's like handler.
Yeah.
Because his mom is elderly and in
Yes.
danger. What did I say?
Yeah.
What did
Not
I
wrong.
say? Always. Next up, West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey lashed out at the men's NCAA tourney selection committee after the Mountaineers were among the teams snubbed. He asked his attorney general, I love this, to investigate and work closely with the NCAA to ensure the process is transparent and fair. He said West Virginia deserved to be in the tournament. And he also said this was a miscarriage of justice and robbery at the highest levels.
Now, this isn't an original take because I heard it this morning.
Yeah.
But I would just second it. Shannon Sharp on First Take said it the
Okay.
best. He was like, Governor, he goes, there's other things for you to be worried about. For you to be asking your attorney general to investigate. He was like, the education system is garbage over there. The housing is bad. There are so many other things that you should be worried about other than your team not getting in the tournament. Even though they probably deserve to be in the tournament, we'll give them that, but it's not that serious.
I just love the idea of being a person in power, calling your team not being in the tourney a miscarriage of justice.
Miscarriage of justice.
Attorney general
That is crazy.
That's
taxpayers' money.
Yeah.
Most of them people don't care about that dang tournament.
Spent investigating whether or not your team was
Fix
snubbed.
the pothole on 5th Street. You know what I mean?
For real.
Cut the tree down that's about to fall next storm.
There are other problems. Can you make eggs cheaper? Can you do that, or is that above you? That might be above your pay grade, but let's figure that out too. Next up, Stephen A. Smith thought the governor's statement was ridiculous, but did say that NC shouldn't be in the tourney.
In all seriousness, it's embarrassing for an elected official to take the position that he's taken, literally calling for an investigation. You can complain, and he has legitimacy with his complaints, but to go this far and to really try to force an investigation, it's utterly ridiculous. It's childish, and you would like to think our elected officials have something better to do with their time on behalf of their constituency than something of this magnitude. Clearly, he does not. It's utterly ridiculous for him to take this position that he's taken. Having said that, I will say this. His anger and his disgust is valid. North Carolina was 1-12 against quad teams, okay? North Carolina should be in the NIT. North Carolina does not deserve to be in the NCAA tournament. And Bubba Cunningham, some dude named Bubba, is not only on the selection committee, he's the head of the selection committee. And to tell us he has to leave the room when the conversation entails North Carolina is utterly ridiculous. So you hadn't been talking about North Carolina before that point. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, around other committee members. You didn't have those conversations.
Exactly.
Stop that. We were born at night, not last night. Nobody's believing that nonsense, okay?
Nobody is. Stephen A. is absolutely right.
No, I swear. I don't talk about North Carolina.
No,
Get out of here.
I don't influence this decision whatsoever.
Man, come on. It's your job to lobby for them to get in, even if it's not on an official platform. And you get an $800,000 bonus if they do make the tourney. Come on, man, corruption. But what are you going to do? Nothing's going to happen. This is North Carolina. They're going to sell more tickets. Their fans are going to follow the CBS is going to highlight them. Dun, 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 dun. It's going to be North Carolina. We know why they're in this thing.
What if it says that as the subtitle?
North Carolina.
They don't belong here.
North Carolina, we know why.
Someone said Stacy would probably hate on Tommy Boy, too. That's the one with Chris Farley.
Which
and
one?
David Spade. Tommy Boy,
yeah.
Also, have never seen it, but I'll tell you exactly what it's about. Chris Farley is wacky and loud. And he, rest in peace. And he and David Spade, something with Chris Farley's dad, because Chris Farley is not accepted by his dad.
You've seen this.
No, I swear to God, but I know the basic premise. Who's rich or a company owner or president? Is he president? President. He's president of a company.
You might also be thinking of Black Sheep, but you're dead on.
What's Black Sheep? Is it the
it's
same
another
concept?
Chris Farley,
same concept.
David Spade.
Chris Farley's too wacky and wild for his dad to accept. So David Spade and him travel across the country, also the plot of Dumb and Dumber, to do something. I don't know what
Save
that
the company, something like that. Make a sale.
To save the company. To save the company from an evil. Tell me there's a bad guy. There's a bad guy that's trying to end Chris Farley's dad's company, and Chris Farley's going to stop him from doing it with David Spade, and David Spade has his head on straight, and he's the serious one. Am I close?
You're bang on.
That's what I'm saying. That's all of these movies are the same. Coming up next, we're waiting for Aaron Rodgers to make a decision.
When you're running the hurry up and don't have time for your favorite Seattle sports shows, listen to the podcast on demand.
How about that? Unbelievable. Who would have thought?
Every hour, every interview, every look behind the scenes.
He is your new Seahawks head coach, Mike McDonald.
We want to play a certain way, and you're just going to chisel away at it every day.
Find us on SeattleSports.com, the Seattle Sports app, or wherever you get podcasts.
All signs continue to point to it being the right hire.
Never miss a minute of Seattle sports, the home of the Seahawks.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto Family.
Hello. Welcome to the Lee Johnson Auto Family. This is King. This organization's a special one. They call it the Lee Johnson Auto Family, and it's not just a name. It's not just some cliche. They foster an environment for us to become a family, to work together, to really become close, and they show us in a lot of different ways that they do value us. Is it perfect? No place is. But I've been very thankful to be here in the almost 10 years and have every plan to stay here for a lot longer and just watch it continue to grow.
He's fun and professional, which explains why so many people visiting Lee Johnson Kia ask for him by name. The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto Family.
When it comes to great deals on tax prep, Jackson Hewitt isn't holding back, and neither is this commercial. Their offer is so big, it has to be said with Reverb. Expert tax prep for $149 or less. It's a deal so spectacular, it needs a symphony, some explosions, and a clock ticking, because this offer, $149 or less. And soon, one expert tax prep for $149 or less. Try Jackson Hewitt today and save. Whew. Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out collection letters, garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it even harder to get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in taxpayer assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Let them fight on your behalf, helping to put your tax problems to rest. Call the tax professionals at Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Opening day is just days away, and we want to send you and a friend to experience it like never before. Get front row access to the opening ceremonies, player introductions, the first pitch, and more, all from the field. To enter, just open the Seattle Sports app and hit the Win tab for all the details. You can enter once per day, so the more you enter, the better your chances. This contest runs through March 21st. Seattle Sports, home of the Mariners, and your home for opening day.
Play ball! Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
Take your game day experience to the next level with a Mariner Suite. Suites are perfect for birthdays, anniversaries, client meetings, and that company outing you've been trying to plan for months. Enjoy first-class catering, VIP parking, custom setups for 14 to 400 people, and more, all with the help of a dedicated Mariners rep. Suites start at $125 per person, and season ticket members get 15% off. Reserve now at mariners.com/suites.
Munoz strikes out the side, and the ball game is over.
Washington State ranks number 5 in the country for auto theft. The most high-risk vehicles are Kia, Hyundai, Ford F-150, F-250, and F-350. Help keep your car safe with these simple and important tips. Don't leave your car running unattended. Park in well-lit areas. Lock up every time. Keep valuables out of sight. Use an anti-theft device like a steering wheel lock. Share this information with friends and family. Prevent the theft and keep you and your vehicle safe. These tips brought to you by the Washington Auto Theft Prevention Authority.
The brackets are now open. Compete in the Seattle Sports Bracket Bucks presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort. Head to seattlesports.com/win to pre-register. Receive your bracket and compete for your shot at great prizes. The grand prize winner from the 64-team bracket will win $1,000 in Visa gift cards. But if your bracket is busted in the first round, we have other ways for you to play too. Register and find complete rules at seattlesports.com/win.
I just had Asset Roofing come out and do a full inspection on my roof because I wanted to be proactive and handle any small problems before they became big problems, and they were extremely professional with their communication and recommendations. You really need an expert on your side, and Asset Roofing is on mine. Allow them to work for you, too. You can find out more at AssetRoofingCo.com. That's AssetRoofingCo.com.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
What is Aaron Rodgers doing? As a former Seahawk, I'm always curious to see, like, well, what's Russell Wilson going to do? Where's he going to land? He can't sign anywhere until Aaron Rodgers decides where he's going to play. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler reporting Russell Wilson ready to sign in New York, maybe Pittsburgh, but is the number 2 choice in both places. Aaron Rodgers just kind of hanging around. The Athletic reporting that he's considering retirement. Connor Orr says the Vikings should sign him, so there's another team in the mix as well. I don't know. Colin Cowherd talking about it. He sounds frustrated too.
There's that picture in Malibu, pods on, and I'm thinking every NFL GM is thinking, just make an effing decision, okay? You're not married, you don't have kids, you're not doing much, you're golfing, and you're reading Greek mythology. Listen, I've talked to 2 GMs, and they're like, I'm not interested.
Think of the top quarterbacks in the league. Patrick Mahomes, the only maintenance they ever have to deal with is his family. It's not him. And I think Aaron Rodgers and Russell, they're different personalities, but I think they both check the same box of like, I don't know if we have the energy. You're not good enough anymore for us to overlook that, because if you put Aaron Rodgers on Minnesota, I could see it going well, but I can also see it getting weird. Like, are you sure that you're comfortable with him, with JJ and that situation? But I do think they're thinking long and hard, but these guys don't really have options, so they can just kind of wait it out and keep talking through it.
The Greek mythology line is great. Why do you think it's taking so long?
Because he's in a position of power and he likes power.
Dang, bars.
You look at the available quarterbacks after Aaron Rodgers. This is according to what they were paid last year. Trey Lance, Drew Lock, Joe Flacco, Jameis Winston, Carson Wentz, Case Keenum, Easton Stick, Josh Johnson, Teddy Bridgewater, C.J. Beathard, Beathard, as you guys say, and Russell Wilson. All the way down there. And you still got a few more guys after that, Desmond Ridder or whatnot. He's in a position of power. He's in control, and he likes that. And he also realizes that there are teams that need quarterbacks. There are teams that can roll out the number 2, but there are teams who want to be competitive. The New York Giants have a number 1, a star receiver in Malik Neighbors. You don't want to throw anyone else out there with them. Mm-hmm. The Steelers, we just acquired DK Metcalf. You got Pickens on the other side. You got a defense that's good. They're ready to play right now. So it's because he knows that he is wanted and he is valued. He's going to take his sweet little time. This reminds me of when I was little. I'm only child, right? But I had 2 cousins that were like my sisters.
I will say you don't have only child tendencies. I regularly forget that you're an only child.
Thank you. Only child. I had 2 cousins that I spent a lot of time with. They're like my sisters. And our parents would buy us like candy and stuff. Whatever we have, we share. It's just it. So one of my cousins would purposely not open her Skittles so she wouldn't have to share.
Wow.
Yet we would open ours and share with her. That's what Aaron doing. He don't want to share nothing. He's like, look, nope. Steelers, I'm not sharing with Russell. Giants, I'm not sharing with Russell. Not even the Cleveland Browns, even though I'm not going there. I'm in complete control of this situation. That's what it feels like here. And for a guy who doesn't have any communication with his family, right? Yeah. That tells me that, and who knows what happened. We don't know the details or their side or his side. But if you're okay with not having any type of communication with your family, you just move differently. You don't think of other people. You think of yourself, and you think of your situation, which you can and should be able to do that at an extent. Everyone should think of themselves at some point. I'm not saying just be about everybody else. But this right here, it's about him. He knows he's going to be employed. He knows people want him, so he's going to take his time.
Is it a naive thought, and feel free to be blunt, to think, well, maybe he's taking his time because he might be considering retirement, and that's what's taking so long?
I leave room for that, definitely, because if he is contemplating retirement, that's a big step. You know, there's only a few players in generations that leave the game when they want to leave. Usually the game tells you, I'm done with you. We're going to move on to this younger, faster kid coming out of Oklahoma or LSU. But for him, if that's what's happening, then I can appreciate that or I can respect it. but something tells me that it's more about control.
A question from a listener. I'm curious, can the three teams, so let's call them the Giants, Vikings, Steelers, who are waiting for Aaron Rodgers to get off the pot, just decide to go with another quarterback, or are they obligated to wait for his decision? I think it's just that while some people might disagree, it's the reason that Bump and I made our bet on who's going to have better numbers by the end of the year. I think all three teams very clearly see Rodgers as a better option than Wilson. So they'd rather wait on the better option.
That's it. Because there's only one option out there that's the best option. So you're going to wait your turn because those other quarterbacks are going to be there. They're not going anywhere. I don't think the Steelers are going to say, you know what, forget it, bring back Russell. Or the Giants say, you know what, this get Russell. No, they want Aaron Rodgers. He's the best available quarterback. So they're going to wait because either way, if you don't get Aaron Rodgers, you're going to get a number 2 type quarterback.
Do you think they're right? Those teams? And waiting for Aaron Rodgers and very clearly prioritizing Rodgers. Like, do you think Rodgers has more left, can do more than Russell Wilson?
Oh, you already know I do. You already know I do.
Why?
I do, because I saw a better season last year. His starting point, he's only got him by 4 years. Like, Russell ain't no spring chicken either.
No.
He's got him by 4 years. And Aaron has done so much more in his career than Russell Wilson, and I think sees the game differently than Russell Wilson.
I do agree with that.
And Russell made his name by making the off-schedule spectacular play. And when you get old, you got to sit there, read, react, and throw it. And I think that despite what we might feel about Aaron Rodgers as a person, as a quarterback, he still does that better than Russell Wilson.
Can you imagine if he does, Aaron Rodgers, sign with the Steelers, and you have George Pickens, DK Metcalf, Aaron Rodgers at practices going against Darius Slay? Like
battles.
These stories to come from these practices. Opening day is almost here, and we are sending one of you and a friend to experience it like never before. Imagine getting front row access to the opening ceremonies, player intros, the first pitch, and so much more, all from the field. To enter, all you need to do is open the Seattle Sports app and click the Win tab to find out how. If you don't already have the app, you should, but you can also text the word app, APP, to 866-979-3776, and we'll send you a link to download. Enter daily to increase your chances to win. The contest runs through Friday, March 21st. Speaking of opening day, Rowland-Smith joining us next.
Breaking news.
We're excited to announce a multi-year partnership extension between the Seattle Mariners and Seattle Sports / Bonneville Seattle. So all Mariner games will continue to be heard on our platforms, including 7:10 a.m., the Seattle Sports app, and seattlesports.com. And the 2025 season will mark the 35th year as the flagship radio home of the Seattle Mariners.
Stay with Seattle Sports for updates and analysis. Read more at seattlesports.com and on the Seattle Sports app.
Hey guys, did you know that half of men over age 50 have erectile dysfunction on some level? Whether you have mild, moderate, or severe ED, West Coast Men's Health can help. We don't prescribe pills and hope they work. Instead, we treat the root cause of the problem with acoustic wave therapy, which breaks down plaque, unclogs arteries, and restores blood flow. We have treated thousands of men across our 11 locations nationwide and have established ourselves as a leader in the industry. So whether you have ED, Peyronie's disease, or suffer from chronic pain, such as neuropathy, carpal tunnel, or Dupuytren's contracture, West Coast Men's Health can help. No pills, no shots, no surgery, just results.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call West Coast Men's Health at 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
Protein. Everyone is trying to get protein in their diet, but we need fats too. Healthy fat, that is, like the rich, natural peanut and almond butters found in G2G protein bars. Most bars don't have it because, well, most bars aren't real food or refrigerated. Fortunately for you, we aren't most bars. At G2G, you'll find a balanced helping of protein and healthy fat. The fact that they're delicious is just the bonus. They're fast, easy, and perfect for on-the-go families. G2G protein bars. Find them in the refrigerated section at Costco.
Over the past decade, Washington state politicians have doubled state spending with no improvements to the issues we care about. Instead, we now have the third highest cost of living in the nation and a $12 billion deficit. It's time to tell legislators we need better results, not bigger taxes. Act now at affordablewashington.org. Paid for by people for an affordable Washington and Olympia, Washington. Top 5 donors are Washington Alliance for Competitive Economy, Microsoft, Madrona, T-Mobile, and Alaska Air.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go. And that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Welcome to Staples.
I hear Staples prints it all for any business?
You bet, and we'll beat any print quote.
So if I had a pizza place...
Staples can print signs, menus, pizza boxes.
A landscaping business?
Oh, we can print yard signs, t-shirts, brochures.
How about a pizza/landscaping business? I'll call it Dough and Mo.
I like it.
Right now at Staples, get up to $250 off your print purchase. Ends 4/5 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for offer details. Price match guarantee valid in store and staples.com/print. Visit staples.com/price match for details.
Febreze. It's a classic odor tale. You fried fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then... you spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now, all you have to worry about is Pam cheating at charades.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Ladies, and you guys too, have you noticed visible signs of aging, those deep wrinkles, fine lines, and facial creases stealing your youthful glow? Sagging skin, crow's feet, and loss of facial contour are all natural effects of aging, but you no longer have to let them define your appearance. Introducing the New Skin Lift, the groundbreaking facelift led by Dr. Brian Scott. The advanced New Skin Lift addresses key signs of facial aging for women and men, restoring natural youthful contours. Whether it's replenishing volume lost over time or lifting the skin to smooth out those creases, the New Skin Lift can help you look 10 to 20 years younger with both surgical and non-surgical options. It's Hollywood's best-kept secret and now available to you. Get a free consultation and save $250 off your New Skin facelift. Schedule at newskinlift.com or 206-222-1225. Look 10 to 20 years younger and restore your youthful appearance with the New Skin facelift. newskinlift.com.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Brandon Graham has announced his retirement from the NFL after 15 seasons, all with the Eagles. Elsewhere in the league, we're waiting to see whether or not Aaron Rodgers is going to join Graham in retirement. That was a report from The Athletic, but mostly people are just assuming he's going to sign with one of 3 teams, the Vikings, Steelers, or Giants. Russell Wilson also waiting to see where he's going to sign.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now.
Ryan Rowland-Smith joining us now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Hi, Ryan. How's it going?
Fantastic. How are we doing? What are we, 9 days away from opening day?
Yes.
I'm in a great mood.
I
Is
know.
it 9 or 8, something like that? I got no idea. But yeah, we're close. Can't wait.
It's very, very exciting. Let's start looking at how this roster is taking shape. I fully expected that Dylan Moore would just be like the primary guy at second, but Bliss has had a great spring, and Dylan's struggling at the plate, I think 2 for 32. What do you expect to happen there?
I still feel like, it's a question you got to ask yourself. The Mariners really value versatility. They value Dylan Moore to be a guy who, JP needs a day off. All right, we need someone to slot in because, you don't have 2 of them if you're going to all of a sudden every day him at second base. I'll be honest with you, in a perfect world, you'd have a situation where Dylan Moore would be more value in regards to filling that gap, kind of like a Macklemore back in the day. You remember back in 2001, he literally played 130 games, but he was playing 5 different positions. But at the same time, you know what? Dylan Moore, I guarantee you there's been a conversation with him, front office, maybe his agent, hopefully not, hopefully it's him directly, and with Dan Wilson saying, listen, hey, just give me an everyday spot. Let's see how we go. Let's see if I can hit righties and lefties. You know, let's see if I can post every single day. Let me show you some of the range at second and get dialed in. And you know what? If it doesn't work out, make it more versatile. Now, Ryan Bliss, I love that guy, man. I mean, I'm sure you guys too. I'm not sure if you guys had a chance to talk to him on the show, but he's awesome. One of the first guys when I walked in the clubhouse last week for the first time, he goes, "Hey, what's up?" You know, like he just gets it, and not because he's talking to me, but he just kind of understands, how this works. He's in the big leagues every single day, and that's kind of the goal. I think with him, if he can handle the fastball, if he can get that, get to that place where he can be a dynamic player, catch up to that when they try and expose him at the top part of the strike zone, and offensively be more of a dynamic threat, you know what? He can push himself into that everyday role, and all of a sudden Demo goes back to being versatile if that's how they want to play it. But there's a couple different scenarios. I know the Mariners love that versatility, so we shall see.
What's the gap like between Bliss and Moore defensively? Is there much of one?
No, I think it's honestly, I think it's reps and time. I think it's a situation where, by the way, now I know we're talking second base here, but Ryan Bliss still has arm strength. And I say that because everyone's like, well, if you play second base, don't worry so much about the arm strength. But he's got plus arm strength. People kind of neglect that. That means that when you get to that play which is up the middle, those ones that kind of scoop through the infield, right back through the past the pitcher, and all of a sudden you turn around and backhand, and then you got enough arm strength to throw it off balance. When he can start showing, because he hasn't had the opportunity yet, when he can start showing defensively that you can get that extra step and that backhand and then show that arm strength off just a little bit more, man, I'm telling you right now, your stock goes through the roof. So, I mean, look, is there a gap? I think it's more of a situation where, look, I love defense. Don't get me wrong. It's more about how you perform hitting. How are you going to, if you're going to play every day, can you hit righties and lefties? Are you not going to get overwhelmed when at bat number 3, with someone coming out of the bullpen, he's pumping 97 with that high RPM, and you're up to hit, and they're like, oh, yeah, we're just going to live at the top of the strike zone, and then all of a sudden it's just punch-out city. So we shall see.
Hey, Ryan, what's been the most who's had the most impressive bat so far?
Man, it's hard to tell. Like, I like to only really judge it in person, to be honest with you, in spring training. I was only there for a week, and I was kind of getting caught up. We had some rain we were dealing with. Like, I wanted to go, watch some batting practice and everything else. So in regards to who has had the most impressive, when you're talking spring training, it's so I take it with a grain of salt. The one guy, I'll turn it around like this, Bump. There's a couple candidates here that you want to feel amazing, even though it's 1 o'clock in Peoria. And, you're looking out the berm and everyone's just crushing hot dogs and they're just happy to be down there and the games don't count and everything else. The one guy you want to get on that plane to go face the Athletics and feel right about any adjustment he's made, not just physically but mentally, is Mitch Garver for multiple reasons. Number one, there's a little bit of this sort of turnstile happening at DH, right? Now, he came in last year to be a DH. Now, all of a sudden, he's going to be getting reps behind the plate. He's getting paid a lot of money. We know what happened at the end of last year, and this has a ripple effect on other players because he does have a little bit more veteran presence and he has that personality as well in the clubhouse, that when you get to opening day, whether he's filling in to DH or whether or not he's in a situation where he's behind the dish and you can give Cal extra days off, especially early on, and he's feeling really good about what he's doing. Again, not just physically but mentally. Man, that I'm telling you, then all of a sudden you got more of a weapon. And again, I keep going back to this time last year. Bring in Mitch Garver, you bring back Mitch Haniger, Polanco, some of these guys that you brought in, and they'll be the first to tell you it was disappointing, especially you're talking April, May. And if you can get a presence like that, Mitch Garver, when I say presence, I'm not talking about someone with full energy like a Robles or anything like that, but he has a massive impact because he touches the pitches, he touches the catches, he touches the offense in the cage. He's around so many elements of the team. You want him cracking jokes, feeling good, talking, hitting, all those little things. And on top of it, you want him going 2 for 4 and crushing the ball into the gap here and there. So if there's one guy who, by the way, is having a great spring, swings and misses a cut down, and he's jumping on mistakes, it's Mitch Garver. And, he's putting up good numbers, and you want him feeling really good about what he's doing.
The Athletic came out with their preseason rankings, and obviously all of this still to change. Very long season. But the Astros, Rangers, and Mariners are kind of clumped together between 8 and 11, which is, I think, good news as a Mariner. If you go into the season knowing the division race could still be tight. Ryan, if you're looking at the Astros and Rangers, where do they have the upper hand, and what's your question about these two teams?
The Astros still have enough offense. I mean, I hear all the time about I'll start with them. I hear all the time about, losing, Kyle Tucker. I get it. I totally get it. But you also bring in a Christian Walker. I know there's been some injury involved here to kick off the season. There's still enough offense there. And again, pitching, there's enough pitching, and it's a lot of the question marks happen on a Hunter Brown. They're talking about Hunter Brown, shouldering that 2-3 spot in the rotation. So he's a guy too, and I watched him pretty closely last year. He's a guy a young pitcher who all of a sudden gets in his head just a little bit. Man, when you're talking, and by the way, the Astros had this a couple of years ago with Framber Valdez and Christian Vasquez as well. They get a little bit off the rails mentally. Man, it can be good for the Mariners. And what happened a couple of years ago, they went off the rails and the Mariners caught up, right? So Hunter Brown's a big question mark to me if he's going to be slotted, second, third in that rotation. Bullpen-wise, it's still good. They still have young guys that come up out of nowhere. The Texas Rangers, to me, man, I mean, I'm watching how they're playing DeGrom right now. They're trying to factor in, whether it be a six-man rotation or who's going to come up from AAA, because they are teetering on, again, you're talking maybe 60 innings from DeGrom. They're already sort of prepping, anticipating. And I'm looking at that going, man, okay, you had enough offense a couple years ago. You got to the World Series and you won it. They scare me the most in that division next to the Mariners. I'm getting to the Mariners in just a second. But with the Texas Rangers, if you are putting a situation or a premium on, okay, we can live off this pitching, and you're banking on being injury-free, well, you're talking they projected, 86, 87 wins. That's going to get you down to, 82s, 83s. Now, the Mariners, this sounds super cliche. Please don't roll your eyes. Both of you, I know you guys roll your eyes
Never.
all the time.
No.
If you're listening, and again, I'm saying this because it's rattling around in my head. It's so cliche. It's kind of cringy. You can't win a World Series in April, but you could lose it, man. Is that ever true?
No, I didn't roll my eyes.
Boom.
That's bars. That's bars.
Well, is that ever true for our Seattle Mariners? They need to get off to a good start. I cannot live with, look, everyone was so disappointed they didn't go get some splashy free agent. They missed out on the playoffs by 2-3 games. Go back to all of a sudden mid-April, they're all good. They're cooking. But there was flaws. There was offensive flaws showing up. Then all of a sudden you got to that place where, man, everything leveled out. And I'm talking April, May. You go back in some of those months, and all of a sudden, you're in good shape. Not to mention the fact that the runs per game, we can talk about that all day. They were hovering around 3.4 runs per game. And I'm telling you, they spent the last 4 months of the season pushing 4.3, 4.4 runs a game. And you do that for 6 months, you'll win in the division by 7-8 games. And so get off to a good start, fellas. Again, how's it go, Bump? Can you repeat it? I'm cringing every time I say the cliche.
Stacy, you got it. A cliche you put out there. You can't lose it in
Oh, you can't win a World Series in April, but you can lose it. But
there
you know
you
what?
go.
I didn't roll my eyes because
it's the biggest cliche in sports. Let's go. Come on.
But it's also sometimes the cliche is true. Like sometimes it's
Absolutely.
completely fair, and I think you're exactly right. And for that matter, we just talked with Gary Hill the other day, and he said roughly the same thing. We were like, "What are we watching for?" He was like, "You can't get in a hole in this division. Like if everyone's around 500 and you're around 500, maybe you're not happy with 500, but that's okay. But don't get 5, 6, 7, 8 games back early, and it's completely fair. Like sometimes it's perfectly applicable."
I'll add this too. Now, I spoke of the off season, right? I swear we're 9 days away from opening day. Get on the field, fellas, and I will never speak of the off season again. The Mariners are in such a great position with this division the way it is. You didn't have to dismantle that starting rotation. You've got some bullpen pieces coming back. You've got a situation, Gregory Santos and Matt Brash, if healthy, make a huge impact. So you're going to live off pitching. We all know that. Then you're going to make a little bit more contact, and you're going to get a year full. I'm sure Gary and I spoke about this the other day, Gary Hill, having a full year of Victor Robles and Randy Rosarina if they're comfortable and what have you. The Mariners are in a great spot. Now, you talk about, getting off to a good start. Get to a place, I call this the first milestone all the time if you're going to win a division. Get to that trade deadline where you can start making moves, and all of a sudden you've got some value. And they do. Guess what? They got. It depends on who you ask, whether a first-ranked farm system or a top 5. And their biggest draw card is making trades. They are in a great spot. Just got to get off to a good start. Get to July and hover around a game or two, and they're in a great position.
Hey, Ryan, I read an article by Passon, and he said that he pointed out just the fall of Julio's WAR, and it felt like there's only a few guys in the bigs who can have a 10, and he pointed to Julio Rodriguez. Is that a fair expectation, or would that just be, a little extra caveat over there? Like, how would you do the possibilities of him actually doing that?
You know what? Julio's an interesting one. I was down there at spring training. I was thinking about this a lot. Two things are going to happen when we talk about early start, April, May, are going to kick off. Number one, and again, no one knows this but him, right? Two things are going to, number one, he's going to put so much pressure on himself because he is literally, you talk about that WAR and the value and the what he provides a team. Great player, dynamic, blah, blah, blah. The strikeout numbers were high. And he kept looking up, and he was in the teens, guys, in home runs up until late in the year. It was insane. He's watching all these peers around him, glancing up at that jumbotron, no matter what city he went in, goes, man, I can't get to 20. Finally got to 20, and boom, he just went off, right? So two things when the season kicks off with Julio. Yes, he is 100% capable. Physically, we all know it. He's young. He can add the little sprinkling to add to your WAR, like, bag value, right? Grabbing extra bags, turning a single into a double, stealing a base, power, all those little things, and obviously playing defense. He does all those things to add to WAR, right? So I agree, yes. However, two things are going to happen. Number one, he's totally right. Him and Edgar have just got it dialed in, gets to April, and it's like, hey, you know what? I went 0 for 8. We're all good. Let's get back in the cage. We have a process. Not like last year where he's trying to reinvent the wheel, right? Well, number two, he goes up and goes, man, there is some pressure because I'm Julio Rodriguez, came out of the gates, rookie of the year, home run derby a couple of years back. But guess what? You know what's possible? And you probably lost sleep over this, waking up at 2 a.m. Man, I couldn't crack 20 homers until August last year. So if any of that sort of pressure, seeps in, you can WAR whatever you want all day long. It doesn't matter. But, man, if he can be right mentally, get off to that good April. I said it earlier. 100% he's capable of being that type of player.
Did you ever have something as a player where it felt like something you couldn't overcome, and then once you did, it was just kind of like everything sprang through? Like, are there really mental hurdles where you're like, man, you can't explain it, you can't always predict what it's going to be, but sometimes there's just this certain number staring you in the face?
Well, yeah, Stacy, listen, it was, for me, it was, man, I was so in my head. I could get to 2 strikes with ease, man. And I talked about this with Emerson Hancock last year. Get to 2 strikes, how does he put hitters away? I could get to 2 strikes, no problem, right? First 3-4 pitches, I'm all good. But finishing the job and getting out of the strike zone, I really struggled. And so what happened was it was a snowball effect. 2 things happened. Number one, when I had some good years, I could get to 2 strikes and just be like, you know what? I'm just going to get weak contact, and guess what? Strikeouts start to happen. On the flip side, if you get so in your head about trying to put hitters away with 2 strikes, because look, you cannot give up hits with 2 strikes, flat out. I know that goes without saying, but you got to understand, if you want to survive in the big leagues, getting to 2 strikes is one thing. You have to be able to put them away. It got to a place where I literally was so in my head, and you can go on Baseball Reference to see how derailed my career. I got so in my head with 2 strikes that I just couldn't get dudes out. And it overcame me. I walked away with a 6 and got DFA'd. So on the flip side, though, there was times where I'm like, who cares about striking dudes out? Who cares about swing and miss? Just get weak contact. And when I did that, man, guess what? Punching out 6 a game, punching out 7 a game. I was all good to go.
Yeah, I think it's always interesting to hear because it's, and I've asked you questions like that, Wyman, Bump, Brock, any former players, because it really is, as someone who's never played anything professionally, you always think that certain things are coach speak or player speak, or you look at someone with all the physical tools, all the competition and drive in the world, and you go, well, what doesn't make sense about this? And it's almost like you need to hear from former players, hey, I'm telling you, sometimes it is a mental hurdle. Sometimes it is something in your head, and it's so eye-opening to always hear, no matter what level people have gotten to.
I'll just add this too, just to that. If you want to pay attention, and this is something when I'm in the booth and I'm talking about this. Sorry, I think I may have lost you. When I'm in the booth, I like talking about this.
Yeah.
Watch players in between pitches. That'll tell you everything, man. And again, I used Emerson Hancock as an example, but if you see someone with good stuff, good strike throwing ability, the whole bit, and you watch him get to 2 strikes, right? Or whatever it may be. And I like to point this out, not that I'm trying to throw shade on them or whatever. Watch how they react in between pitches. That'll tell you everything, how in their head they are in regards to when they get to certain counts or when they can't execute. They got 4 pitches. There's that one pitch that they're trying to get. You watch the percentage start to dip on that pitch, and you just watch the reaction. I love paying attention to that, and that's something I love bringing up during games. I guarantee you, Bump and Stacy, you watch enough football, you're basically dialed in. You know that in between plays in football, it's the same thing, man. That's what fascinates me watching these dudes.
Good stuff from Ryan Rowland-Smith. Kind enough to join us on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. 9 more days, Ryan. 9 more days. We'll talk to you later.
9 more days. Can't wait. See you guys.
See ya. Let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
The Seahawks are reportedly interested in Lucas Patrick, an offensive lineman with ties to Clint Kubiak. This after they signed Marquez Valdez-Scantling, a wide receiver with Kubiak ties. What's the real headline?
At this point, just bring Gary in too. Everyone with Kubiak ties, including Gary Kubiak, just come on down to Seattle, except for Clay.
We're family. We stick together.
Oh, God.
That's what this is all about. It's familiarity. Lucas Patrick, 8 years in the game, 6'3", 313. Played some guard, also played some center as well. So he's a little versatile. Listen, you bring in guys who understand your offense. Doesn't mean they're necessarily on the team. We've seen guys be brought in, and by training camp, they cut them and you're out of there. But this will be a signing that you expect to be on the team. We don't know if they sign him yet, but you're supposed to bring in guys that you are familiar with. There are so many moving pieces on a football team. If you could bring in one familiar piece, 3 familiar coaches, another familiar piece there, less coaching, less teaching for you to do, and he can help teach the offense as well. He can work with the center and the guard. Not necessarily work with them and lead drills, but just be there as a reference. There's nothing like that as a young guy, and there's a lot of young guys in that O-line room.
Derek's a huge fan of the Fast and Furious franchise. Everything I know about this franchise was unwilling. I did not ask for it, and the second you were like, we're family, I was like, this is absolutely Dom Toretto. I already know.
You already know.
There's this great, I forget who it is. It's a YouTube series where he does like a pitch meeting, and there's one for Fast and Furious. You know what I'm talking about? He's like, okay, ball guy, name a ball guy, name a ball guy, name a ball guy, and they're all in the movie. Just good stuff.
Headline rewrites.
4-star defensive tackle Trayshawn Ruffin flipped his commitment from Texas A&M to North Carolina. What's the real headline?
Not the first time Bill Belichick recruited someone half his age.
He's good at that.
Yeah.
He knows how to do it. That's why he's a college coach. But Ruffin was one of the best defensive linemen in the country. Had offers from Ohio State, Georgia, Texas, Michigan, Florida State. And why did you go to A&M? Because they have the most money. They gave about $10 million to their guys last year. So what that tells me is that North Carolina has exactly what Belichick wants. All right, influence, money, and the promise of putting you in front of the right scouts so you have an opportunity to play in the NFL. I love this because it shifts the power. That's the one thing I like about the transfer portal and NIL is that unless you're Washington State and other small schools, right, these schools with deep pockets with alumni who've done things and gone places, they can compete now. Even when Drake May was with the Tar Heels, I didn't really watch his games. Like I watched that one against Duke, I think 1 year. Mitch Trubisky was there. I didn't really follow them like that because there's no interest. Now you start to get players like this and guys are flipping and you have Belichick over there. I guarantee you're going to see North Carolina on your TV screen a bit more.
Yeah, it's like a North Carolina SMU benefits from that. A couple, well, I wouldn't say Texas A&M. They've been able to benefit before, but just in different ways now. But you're right. You're still kind of looking at schools that are don't have the deep pockets and get those players taken, and you're thinking, okay, what changes can you make to the transfer portal to make it fair for them too? And I don't know the answer to that.
Don't know.
Headline rewrites.
South Alabama had their invitation to the NIT rescinded after their spot was given to another team, a move their head coach called unacceptable. What's the real headline?
Even more shocking, someone from Alabama spelled the word unacceptable correctly.
We all have those words that mess you up.
Yeah, necessary is mine.
Restaurant.
Yeah, restaurant.
Mess me up
I
every
hate
time.
restaurant. I hate that word.
South Alabama, though. This is messed up. They get the call and say, look, boys, you're in. You start working with your logistics people. This is what we have to do, the area we're going to be in. And within hours, they get a call again and say, no, actually, UC Riverside accepted the invitation that they initially declined. You guys are gone. So now he has to go back to his admin and his kids and tell them, actually, seniors, you just played your last game. We thought we saved you another game or two, but that's not what happened. Where they are safe is that I don't think any agreements were signed or anything like that. So legally, they're fine. But it's not about the legalities of the situation. What's right and what's wrong. If you tell a program they're in, then they should be in.
Yeah.
You made the error. You made the mistake. So it's messed up for the seniors who thought they were going to be able to play another game.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, you could apply that to almost anything, and you'd think, well, you still have to honor the thing that you said. I mean, shoot, you could be a restaurant going, oh, we decided to comp your tab.
Yeah.
And then, oh, never mind, sorry, wrong tab. Honor whatever it is that you promised someone else, especially when there are, I know these are young men, but in my mind, kids involved, 18, 19, 20, 21. Like, let them play, man. They thought they'd be able to play together for at least another game. I've also spent the last 3 minutes thinking of all the words I hate spelling. I'd like to add license and exercise.
License, exercise, yeah.
Necessary, exercise. Anything where there's like a C somewhere, but I can't quite remember where the C goes.
Yeah.
That is a word that I hate spelling.
Yeah.
Restaurant is absolutely one of them too, though.
I hate it. All those words I hate.
I hate a lot of words. Let me tell you what.
Weren't you like a English major?
Yeah. There are words I do like. I like the word juxtapose.
Yeah.
I like the word simultaneously. Monosyllabically.
What the heck does that mean?
That was from, I recognized that from Severance, the last episode of Severance.
What does that mean?
Oh my God. It's so single syllable. So he is explaining to, I don't want to spoil it. It's a new episode.
All right, don't spoil it.
Okay, but he uses the word monosyllabically, and it is a read.
It's a burn.
Read. It is a
Just
great
cook
burn.
some.
I'll tell you during the break because I don't want to spoil it for a current season that's ongoing. All right, still to come. Ray Roberts joining us at 1 p.m. We'll talk about what the Seahawks need to add to that offensive line and what he thinks about the pieces they already have. Taking a look around the NFL next.
Opening day is almost here, and we're sending one of you and a friend to experience it like never before.
Swing and a drive, deep to left field.
With front row access to all the opening day ceremonies, from player introductions to Ichiro's ceremonial first pitch, all from the field. To enter, just open the Seattle Sports app, then click on the Win tab. If you don't already have the app, simply text app to 866-979-3776, and we'll send you a link to download. Enter daily to increase your chances to win. This contest runs through Friday, March 21st.
Can you take the power of your home internet almost anywhere? Well, with Xfinity, you can. Do more of what you love in the places you go the most with internet and mobile together. Xfinity built a network that's 99.99% reliable. Plus, Xfinity Mobile has Wi-Fi Power Boost, giving you ultra-fast Wi-Fi at home and on the go. Get the same reliable network in the places you need the most. The coffee shop, the grocery store, or the game. All to power more of what you love, whether you're a gamer, streaming, or work from home. Whatever you're into, you'll love how fast you can do it with Xfinity Internet and Mobile. And now through April 21st, get 300 megabit Xfinity Internet and one unlimited mobile line together for $25 a month for 1 year with no annual contract. And save $1,000 in your first year over Verizon and AT&T. Plus, ask how to get a free premium 5G phone. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra after promo. Regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary. Savings compared to Verizon 5G, Internet plus one unlimited welcome line, and AT&T Internet 300 plus one unlimited starter SL line. Xfinity Internet required. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabits of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual savings vary.
Hi, Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. For over 55 years, you've trusted us for roofing, siding, windows, decking, and gutters. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to schedule a free estimate. State Roofing and Exteriors.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our client's portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss. Getting engaged? At Shane Company, dream engagement rings are our specialty. We have the most beautiful natural and lab-grown diamonds, hand-picked in every price range, ready to compare side by side. Shop online at shaneco.com or in store. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-444-2013. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-444-2013. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-444-2013. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-444-2013. 800-444-2013.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
You've heard the saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Since 1926, my family's been helping local businesses make great first, second, and long-term impressions. We know how to make your company look good with quality uniforms, logoed apparel, floor mats, linens, and more. If you're paying for linen service or doing it yourself, let's have the conversation. The information and quote are free, but the savings and service can really add up. Visit suplinen.com. Superior Linen Service. It's what we do.
The brackets are now open. Compete in the Seattle Sports Bracket Bucks presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort. Head to seattlesports.com/win to pre-register. Receive your bracket and compete for your shot at great prizes. The grand prize winner from the 64-team bracket will win $1,000 in Visa gift cards. But if your bracket is busted in the first round, we have other ways for you to play too. Register and find complete rules at seattlesports.com/win.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
In 15 minutes, we're going to take a listen to the latest from Aaron Goldsmith, who said a bunch of baseball things. Before we get to it, we're taking a look around the NFL. On Cam Hayward's Not Just Football podcast, his co-host Hayden Walsh asked him about trying to recruit Aaron Rodgers.
He says if you come down there with him, so if they called you and were like, we need you to follow him into the darkness for a couple days. He says if you come down there with him, he's signing. Are you going to be off the grid for a little bit, go to the darkness, and try to get this guy? We need you. You're our best recruiter. I'm about to get into Darius Slay, and it sounds like you recruited him too. So we need you to start recruiting. Get that NIL bag out like you did at Ohio State.
I ain't doing that or darkness retreat. I don't need any of that crap. Like, either you want to be a Pittsburgh Steeler or you don't. That's simple. That's the pitch. Like, if you want me to recruit, that's the recruiting pitch. You know, Pittsburgh Steelers. If you want to be part of it, so be it. If you don't, no skin on my back.
All due respect to Aaron Rodgers, who is a 4-time MVP, one of the best ever. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. We get it. But you aren't quite the Hall of Famer you used to be. So being able to drag this out, like, do you want people to beg for your services? Because here's a current player in the NFL saying, I don't know.
The only excuse I give him was one you mentioned earlier. If you are contemplating retirement and it's really difficult for you, right? Let's try to look at him as a regular human being with feelings that the normal person has. If he's going through it, trying to figure out what he's going to do with his life, then I appreciate that. But let it be known. Talk to the organizations and say, look, man, I'm 41. I'm filling out my body. I'm trying to see where my mental is. I might be contemplating retirement, but I'll give you a date at least. I'll let you know by this date so you guys can move on with your lives. And now as a player, I'm with Cam 100%. Man, I'm not begging nobody. If you don't want to be on this team, you don't want to be on this team. Just like John Schneider said with Geno and DK, we want guys who want to be here.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't want to be there, I'm not going out of my way.
Weird question, but let's say Aaron Rodgers isn't taking his time because he's mulling retirement. Let's say he very much intends on playing, and we don't know the reason he's taking his time. Is it fair for anyone else to be bothered by that? Like, there are a lot of sports personalities and voices in sports that are like, what are you doing? And getting really frustrated. I mean, does he have every right to take the time and it's no one's business? Or is there a level of responsibility that you kind of owe when you're holding up other signings?
No, there's a level of responsibility. He understands how NFL teams work. He's been in the league 20 years. He knows that it's best if you have a plan going forward. It's best if you know who's going to be in your locker room, at least when it comes to veterans and guys who are returning. So no, it sounds like a selfish move. I will leave space for him contemplating retirement. But even if that is the case, communication is key. Just talk to somebody and let them know what's going on.
Dominic Foxworth has a wild suggestion for Aaron Rodgers that he should play for the Vikings for free.
If I'm Aaron Rodgers, I would go play for the Vikings for free. I would league minimum, sign me up. What's more valuable to him right now, or which should be in my mind, is rewriting the end of his career. Yeah. Because the end of his career is kind of the lasting taste that we're going to have in his mouth, because it was such an enormous, sloppy, embarrassing mess. Because most quarterbacks in their career playing poorly, but we're just like, hey, he got old. But for him, he ended it in such a publicly bad way that I think it would really benefit him to go somewhere else and kind of make over his image. It's risk there, but I think that it's the best situation to do it.
Hear me out. Whether or not it's the Vikings, I actually think this is a pretty solid take from Dominic Foxworth. He's not saying literally for free. It's just certainly not the contract that Aaron Rodgers would typically command. Let's say it's a veteran minimum. He's trying to just get on a really, really good team so that he can end his career, if this is the final season, on basically like a great PR run.
That's a good take. Last year, he got paid $37.5 million to play for the Jets. I don't think anyone's going to give him that number now. And it's not like money's going to be an issue when it comes to Aaron Rodgers. He's made a lot of money in his career. It would be a great PR move because a lot of people think of him as selfish. He's made $380 million in his career. So I would contemplate it because of what's over there with all the talent and the potential. But you also have to go into that situation thinking, all right, I'm going to take league minimum. I'm with this great team, but I have to be a teacher and a mentor. Yeah. And for the Vikings, is that the teacher and mentor you want around your young J.J. McCarthy, a guy who is zen, who is so centered of who he is and how he approaches things? I don't know, but I ain't mad at the take.
Connor Orr was like really, really into Aaron Rodgers signing with the Vikings, basically being like, if you're a strong enough organization that you can withstand that, and it gives you a really, really good quarterback situation, he's not going to be the guy long term. But the most interesting part of Connor Orr's argument was maybe we put too much emphasis on the idea of making the most of your rookie quarterback on a rookie deal. You're going to pay him anyways. Like, it's not like he's adding to his value by not playing.
You're not necessarily going to pay him. If you don't produce, if you don't produce, you're not paying him. I don't.
It was an interesting take.
I get where he's coming from, but I want my potential franchise quarterback to be as prepared as possible.
Yeah.
And my approach would be sit and learn for a little bit.
I agree. Eagles defensive end Brandon Graham announced his retirement today after 15 seasons in the NFL. His entire career was spent with Philadelphia after being a first-round pick out of Michigan in 2010. Holy cow. He holds the team record for most regular season games played at 206. Shout out 206. And his third all-time in sacks with 76.5. He said this at the start of his press conference.
I just want to say thank you to everybody already. But y'all know I gave everything I had in this. And I don't have no regrets. That's one thing I tell the young boys. Don't have no regrets. And so, first I just want to say, 15 years ago, I walked into this city as a young man with dreams, big dreams, a little bit of nervousness, and a whole lot of fire in my heart. I had no idea back then what this journey would bring. I didn't know how many times I would be tested. I didn't know how much I would grow. And I surely didn't know how deeply I would fall in love with these fans and the team in this city.
You know, Bump, following the departure, the release of Tyler Lockett, one of the conversations we'd all been having locally is like, man, it's so nice to see when guys are able to play, fortunate enough to play their whole career with a team, and it so rarely happens. Well, here's one example in today's NFL headlines about someone who did 15 years with one team.
15 years, like you said, 206 games, 487 tackles, hit the quarterback 153 times. And when you thought about the Philadelphia Eagles, he was one of the names and faces that popped up automatically, was able to bring 2 Super Bowls to Philly. He's an icon, man. Put him in the front office, something. You know, take your time if you want to, Brandon, and go enjoy your family. But if he wants a place in the front office, there's no doubt that they would hook him up.
Ronnie Stanley, who was considered the top available offensive tackle this offseason, maybe not someone Seattle would be looking at, but still, chose to re-sign with the Ravens on a team-friendly 3-year, $60 million deal on March 8th instead of testing free agency. So he was finally able yesterday to explain his decision, said it came down to loyalty.
I knew I was going to give Baltimore, the best, kind of the best bargain that I would, offer to any other team. But that being said, I still wanted to be happy with, what I'm making and make sure I'm getting the value that, I feel like I deserve from, just the job description and, the things that go into what my job has to do. So I think, and the deal was, I think it was a good balance that could help the team and something I'm still happy with.
Bump, there are many benefits to winning, like championships, which is awesome. But one of the benefits that we rarely talk about is that re-signing is a little easier. Keeping guys is a little easier. Enticing outside free agents is a little easier.
Yeah, it's because of the environment that you've been in. He came in the league in 2016. He was an first-team All-Pro in 2019. A Pro Bowler, was a Pro Bowler last year. 9 seasons in one spot. You start to develop relationships. You might meet your wife there. Now you have a family there and her family. There's just a lot of connections that you can rely on, but these decisions are difficult only when the player is a baller, right? If he were just an average football player, he'll just go with the best deal and say, all right, I'm good to go. But because he's had so much success here and been such a big part of that team and what they do in their identity, you gotta pull on those heartstrings when it's time to negotiate.
Aaron Goldsmith's 3 bounce-back candidates for the Mariners this season. Plus, when do we get to move from hope to expectation when it comes to this offense? That's next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk. Weekdays 6 to 10.
Sam Darnold, new quarterback for your Seattle Seahawks.
Feeling so welcome, the second that I walked in the building. Really looking forward to also just playing games at Lumen Field. Those fans are electric, to say the least. Man, I'm just so excited to call myself a Seahawk and just, make that home for, hopefully years to come.
Hear the rest of this interview on demand at seattlesports.com and on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
It is that time of year, homeowners. You start thinking about that roof with all of the rain coming, and you wonder, do I need a new roof? Do I need a repair? Or even what is happening up there? Well, I was thinking the same thing, so I had Asset Roofing come out and do a full inspection for me, and they were extremely professional. The communication was great every step of the way, and the best part is they sent me a detailed report with pictures showing me what they saw and gave me their recommendations. And what you really need is an expert on your side. And Asset Roofing is on my side. Allow them to work for you too, especially if your home is surrounded by trees like mine is, which leads to the moss growth that was happening. Your roof is supposed to last upwards of 20 years, so a yearly inspection is a very small price to pay for adding to the lifespan of your roof, saving you big money down the road and giving you peace of mind. Find out more at AssetRoofingCo.com. That's AssetRoofingCo.com.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
Have you considered surgery or even joint replacement? Hey, it's Dave Wyman, and before you make that decision, see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Why? Because he gives it to you straight. Dr. Wagner said my right knee needs replacement, and I appreciate his honesty and expertise. My left knee is fine right now, but the minute it isn't, I'm heading to Dr. Wagner for his expert opinion. I want to avoid another surgery, and I've heard so many patients rave about results from their 90-minute outpatient stem cell procedure with Dr. Wagner. He's a board-certified Seattle physician with over 30 years of experience and has performed more than 20,000 stem cell procedures using a person's own stem cells to regenerate cartilage in their own joints. People with severe osteoarthritis, even bone on bone, are back doing what they enjoy without pain and without surgery. Whether it's a shoulder, hip, elbow, ankle, wrist, or knee, before choosing surgery, see Dr. Mark Wagner first. Go to drmarkwagnermd.com.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it. Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
The nonprofit Puget Sound Senior Baseball League plays real baseball on the best fields. Final tryouts for adults ages 18 to 65 and older are this Sunday, March 23rd at Interlake High School in Bellevue. With 10 divisions featuring different age and skill levels, there's room for almost every ball player, from ex-little leaguers to high school and even former college and pros. Get all the info at pssbl.com. That's pssbl.com.
Hey, Bill! Got a leak? Need heat? Call Southwest today.
Southwest Plumbing, the one to call.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
It's the World Fighting Championships at Emerald Queen Casino Event Center. Saturday night, May 10th. Experience the thrill of live MMA, boxing, Muay Thai, and kickboxing. Tickets at emeraldqueen.com. Don't miss this exciting mixed martial arts event. The World Fighting Championships, May 10th at Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
21 and older. Need gambling help? Call 800-547-6133 or visit emeraldqueen.com.
I've always said, the car sales in the 1980s and 1990s, earned the rep that we have today. The concerns that consumers have because of what has happened in our industry in the past, they're warranted. It's our job to show them that that's not how business is done anymore, right? It's very different business. It's much more transparent. There's much more information that's available to people, and we're much more customer focused than I think the car industry was, 20, 30 years ago. I'm more focused on providing good customer service and relationships, because I think if you take care of people, money will always come. So I think just the philosophy and the focus for us has changed, where I was constantly chasing a paycheck, and now I'm just constantly trying to take care of customers and employees, because I know if I do that, then my paycheck will take care of itself.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
All right, coming up in 15, Ray Roberts is going to join us. We got lots of questions about potential offensive line additions for the Seattle Seahawks. Before we get to it, going over some of what we learned from Aaron Goldsmith, who was on with Brock and Salk this morning, or Wyman and Bob yesterday? This morning.
Brock and Salk
Brock and Salk this morning. Okay. Oh, man, it's been a crazy week. Already, it's Tuesday. Aaron Goldsmith, I liked this conversation because we talk a lot about expectations and then try to balance expectations and hope with some criticism that we have about what the Mariners did or didn't do. And so I liked Aaron kind of summarizing it in terms of when do we get to move on from hope to expectation?
When do we, as observers of the Mariners, whether you're talk show hosts, broadcasters, or fans, when do we move from hope to expectation, right? Because there is an expectation for Logan Gilbert and George Kirby and Luis Castillo and Bryce Miller and even Brian Wu, for that matter. There is an expectation for Andres Munoz. There's mostly hope for every hitter in that lineup with the exception of Cal Raleigh. And, I feel pretty good about Luke Raley, actually.
Which surprised me. I thought it would be Julio. When is it fair to move from hope to expectation when it comes to those hitters?
Last year.
Good answer.
Last year.
A good answer.
We went in thinking that, okay, lineup is going to be decent. Yeah. These guys are going to perform. They're getting older. I think Julio gets a little bit more runway just because he's younger, but I think this is the year for him. Mm-hmm. But the guys who've been on multiple teams or been here for a while and have shown that they can do it, no, it was last year. Now their seats aren't hot, but we expect them to look like seasoned pros. And that's what we're looking for. And what does a seasoned pro look like? Just smart at-bats, man. Mm-hmm. Pitch recognition. Driving the ball where it's supposed to go. Defensively, making the routine play. Then every now and then making a play you're not supposed to make. You just want this team to look like a mature Mariners baseball club. That's what my expectations are. And if you do that, you should be able to make the playoffs. Yeah,
well, and I think it's fair for expectations to be different for different players. My expectation for Cal is that he hits at least 25 home runs and that his batting average is not going to be stellar. If he's hitting 212 with 30 home runs, I'm very cool with that season from Cal because it's kind of the version that we've seen the last couple of years. Likewise, my expectations for Julio are going to be higher than my expectations for any other player on this team. Maybe my expectation for JP is that he hit... let's see, his home run total,
What do you got, 18 one year?
Let's say 10 home runs.
Yeah, give him 10.
10, 12 home runs. 19 would be his career high. So let's say that I'm by no means expecting 19 home runs. It's his only double-digit home run season. But maybe I'm expecting that he reduce strikeouts, get on base a little more often, get those walk numbers up, and then hit 10 bombs, one up from last year. That can be a fair expectation, and it's okay to have those expectations.
It's correcting your wrongs, right? And everyone's wrongs or shortcomings are different according to who you are and how you've shown that you can perform. Mm-hmm. So I think your expectations for JP are spot on. I think my expectations for Julio, man, let's go 30 of them things. Let's steal 30 bags. Let's be great defensively. Let's be smart at the plate and do something that you've mentioned a few times. Just have your clutch moments. Mm-hmm. Have a few more of those because that's why you get paid the big bucks. That's why they invested in you so early because they believe that when you need a hit, you can come through. It was so fun watching my Dodgers last year just have clutch moments. Granted, you got more opportunities because of your lineup, but having those moments, we need a grand slam right here. Freddie hit a dang grand slam. We need a base hit right here. Maxie gets a base hit. It's being in that moment and feeling like your team is able to execute. It's been a while since we've been in those moments and felt like whoever's at the plate is going to come through.
Aaron talked about his 3 bounce-back candidates for the Mariners.
I would say I think the Mariners making the playoffs is fairly contingent on Julio being a top 5, top 3 MVP finisher. So I would put Julio at the top there. I feel pretty strongly that J.P. Crawford will look a lot more like J.P. Crawford. I don't know if he will replicate 2 years ago. That could be a really great career year if that was the case. But I think he can get closer to that, and I think it's very important for the Mariners. And I feel pretty strongly about Jorge Polanco. Like, I have a hard time thinking that you turn 31 and you just fall off a cliff forever.
What'd you make of not just Aaron's bounce back candidates, but his initial point about this team's best hope to make the playoffs is Julio being like, second, third runner up for MVP?
I think it is something that is that he's capable of, but also take into account what if they're just guys having monster years, just numbers that we only see from a couple of guys a year, and you got several guys doing that. So if it's not that, if it's your typical year, then for sure, I think Julio has to at least play like that. There are guys who play like an MVP but will never win an MVP. But if you are at least sniffing the profile of a most valuable player, that means that your team should be in the mix. And that's what we're asking for from Julio. And I think it's fair at this point to ask that of Julio.
Yeah.
He's getting paid. He's 24 now. You've been around the block a few times. You've adjusted your offseason. He said himself, I'm not going to do as many media things as I used to. Because there was a time where he was doing everything they asked him to do. And you get stretched thin. So take care of your mind, your body, your soul, and just make sure you're ready to ball.
Yeah, I'll push back against the idea that, let's say, Julio's never shown anything, or Julio is a complete bust and Julio's the worst. It's like, no, we've seen stretches of, like, baseball god play from Julio. The problem is that he doesn't do it consistently. Maybe he ends up being a streaky player for the rest of his career. But because he's so young, you leave open the possibility that he can find a way to get started a little earlier, to get a little more consistent, to overcome whatever mental hurdles he has. By virtue of being young, you just think, this isn't Julio at 32 where you're like, that's who he is. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. That is who he is. I think he's young enough to wonder if he can be more. I'll never push back against someone for having expectations that he does. Or for saying, I'm disappointed, play up to your contract, do more, be the savior for this team. Like, I'm never going to push back against that idea that someone might have because that's who he has to be.
What gives you expectations is past performances.
Right.
You don't have those. You don't put those expectations on these guys if they haven't shown you that they can do that. So it makes it fair. Now, them reaching or exceeding is going to take a whole bunch of other things to happen. Health, the mental, understanding what you're trying to accomplish as a squad, and then just being in that moment. That's the toughest part, is being in the moment and not make it bigger than what it really is, especially early in the season. Just be in the moment, swing away. You know what you're doing. You're a pro.
From the 425, Julio is partially a victim of over-expectation given a superstar mantle as a rookie. But here's the thing. No one, at least that I remember hearing from, everyone thought that Julio was a more raw, unfinished product than was Jared Kelenic. And the idea was that Kelenic and Julio would be linchpins of this organization, cornerstones of what they were trying to do, but that Julio might have some more question marks. Like, I remember that being the conversation about these two. Julio set the expectations by coming in and then playing like one of the most exciting rookies that we'd seen in this town in 20 years. You know what I mean? Like, that was done by Julio. Like, the idea was not Julio's going to come in and be the very best player you've ever seen. It was like, yeah, he's got a lot of potential, but, you got Kelenic too, and, this can be the one, these can be your two guys. Like, Julio set part of that himself by virtue of being that gifted.
By his performances. That's why they paid him.
Yes.
He went out there, performed, and flew by Jared Kelenic, and they shifted their priority to him. And I don't think it was a bad move either. But this year's going to be big.
All right, opening day is almost here, and we're sending one of you and a friend to experience it like never before. Imagine getting front row access to the opening ceremonies, player intros, the first pitch, and so much more, all from the field. To enter, all you need to do is open the Seattle Sports app and click the Win tab to find out how. If you don't already have the app, just text the word app, APP, to 866-979-3776, and we'll send you a link to download. Enter daily to increase your chances to win. This contest runs through Friday, March 21st. Ray Roberts joining us next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk. Weekdays 6 to 10.
Daniel Jeremiah mock draft just out this morning. At number 18, Seattle selects Colston Loveland, tight end. Brock, who is Colston Loveland?
Yeah, he's an Idaho boy. You see him in the first-round mocks everywhere because he's 6'6", 250, and just athletic. Kind of your Travis Kelce. Third down dynamo and just a difference maker.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
The brackets are now open. Compete in the Seattle Sports Bracket Bucks presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort. Head to seattlesports.com/win to pre-register. Reseed your bracket and compete for your shot at great prizes. The grand prize winner from the 64-team bracket will win $1,000 in Visa gift cards. But if your bracket is busted in the first round, we have other ways for you to play too. Register and find complete rules at seattlesports.com/win.
This might be the most surprising statistic I've shared in decades of doing local news. More than 75% of commuters will be involved in a car accident at some point. JP Pendergast of Pendergast Law with more.
What makes it more surprising? The average person will be involved in 3 to 4 collisions in their lifetime.
With accidents unbelievably prevalent, what are some safety tips if it happens to you?
Safety first. Secondary collisions are not uncommon while awaiting help. Turn on those hazards and remain in a safe place. If a bystander witnessed the accident, capture their information and encourage them to remain at the scene. Seek medical attention immediately if needed, as delaying can be a costly mistake. Lastly, remember that statements made to police and insurance adjusters can affect your case.
Collisions are more common than we'd like to think. If you find yourself in one, follow these helpful tips and then call my friends at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one's injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
PendergastLaw.com.
Can you take the power of your home internet almost anywhere? Well, with Xfinity, you can. Do more of what you love in the places you go the most with internet and mobile together. Xfinity built a network that's 99.99% reliable. Plus, Xfinity Mobile has Wi-Fi Power Boost, giving you ultra-fast Wi-Fi at home and on the go. Get the same reliable network in the places you need the most. The coffee shop, the grocery store, or the game. All to power more of what you love, whether you're a gamer, streaming, or work from home. Whatever you're into, you'll love how fast you can do it with Xfinity Internet and Mobile. And now through April 21st, get 300 megabit Xfinity Internet and one unlimited mobile line together for $25 a month for 1 year with no annual contract. And save $1,000 in your first year over Verizon and AT&T. Plus, ask how to get a free premium 5G phone. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra after promo. Regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary. Savings compared to Verizon 5G, Internet Plus One Unlimited Welcome Line, and AT&T Internet 300 Plus One Unlimited Starter SL Line. Xfinity Internet required. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabits of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual savings vary.
Stream every Seattle sports show with the Seattle Sports app. Brought to you by Fred Hutchinson Cancer Center. Get new videos, podcasts, and articles on the Seahawks and Mariners from your favorite Seattle sports personalities daily.
Riverside Roofing is offering $1,000 off a new roof replacement. Book a free estimate online, and when you meet with Brandon, that's Don's son, tell him you heard the message on the radio station. Go to riversideroofingllc.com. It's Riverside Roofing, the roofing company you can trust.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Oh, by the way, Ivan's no longer on the project. His wife got a new job, so they're moving across the country.
Robin's top researcher is deviating to a new market. This isn't standard.
And now we're short-staffed. Who's going to finish all these projects?
She needs a cluster of new data analysts, and there's no margin for error.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Protect your home and auto with a bundle from Progressive so you can stop worrying about them and invent new things to worry about, like snakes in your bedroom. Sure, that sounds incredibly irrational, but now that we've mentioned it, you are a little worried. The odds of one snake, let alone snakes plural, are so slim. But you might want to check. Oh, you're not near your bedroom. Guess you'll just have to sit there and worry about it. So let Progressive protect your home and auto, because you've got enough to worry about. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Brandon Graham has announced his retirement from the NFL after 15 seasons, drafted back in 2010, all with the Philadelphia Eagles. Elsewhere in the league, we're all waiting to see whether or not Aaron Rodgers is going to join Graham in retirement. That's one report from The Athletic saying he's mulling that decision. Otherwise, he's considering the Steelers, Vikings, or Giants.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now.
Breaking 28 seconds ago from Adam Schefter. Earlier today, we wondered whether Garrett Bradbury, who was Sam Darnold's center last year with the Minnesota Vikings, would be a Seahawk. He will not. I will spare you some time waiting to see where I'll announce. He'll not be with the Seahawks. Adam Schefter reporting that he has reached a 2-year deal worth up to $12 million, including $3.8 guaranteed with the Patriots. So it's instead Drake May that will get extra protection up front in the form of a former Vikings center. Again, not a lot of luck so far with Seattle in their search for offensive linemen and free agency bump. It's not working out.
Hey, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
There you go.
You know, that's how you got to look at this situation. Don't know how much of a high percentage shot they took. Maybe it was a long-range shot. Maybe it was a high percentage, and they just couldn't come to terms or didn't really feel it. You know, there are things that get in the way, but remember, they are free agents, free.
My gut, tell me if I'm wrong, tells me that it's more important to find a veteran guard to help out than it is a center. Maybe it's because you and Ray seem a little more optimistic about Olu, and I just assume, you know, I listen to you guys and go, okay, well, hey, they feel okay about Olu, whereas I have major question marks at guard. Yeah, no, the center was like a little something extra if you were to get a center, because Olu, they've tried him out at the guard spot as well. Christian Haynes, they tried him there. Obviously, they brought him here to be guard. So there's some flexibility there that you were willing to explore. But if you can get a guard, you go and get a guard. All right. Well, speaking of getting a guard in free agency, let's go ahead and bring on someone who knows the offensive line better than anyone. It's Big Ray Roberts on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Hey, Ray, how's it going?
It's going great. I think, when you say that I know the offensive line better than anyone, there should be like an echo after that, like anyone.
And pause for effect, then anyone. So listen up. Ray, I'm going to start with a free agent the Seahawks did not sign, that being Will Fries. I think a lot of people were really disappointed, but then there was a report from Bob Condotta that Fries didn't want to do a physical, wanted to sign before doing that. In hindsight, how do you feel about the Seahawks not snagging him?
Well, I think the Seahawks have to go about it the way that they go about it. I would just say the one thing is that it seems like we're always in the team that's in that position. Mm-hmm. And then, we didn't draft the person for a certain reason or whatever it is. And then like a Creed Humphreys goes on to be like an all-pro center like type of thing. So to me, at some point, you got to break habits a little bit and maybe take some risk. I do think that I feel as if the offensive line here is seen more as like a ends to a means and not necessarily like a weapon like everyone else. When you're talking about, giving Sam Darnold's weapons, we talk about the skilled dudes, all the dudes that can touch the ball and score touchdowns and things, and you don't necessarily put offensive linemen in the toolbox. And so I think, for me, they have their reasoning for, I can understand, not getting to see a dude that was injured and you wanted to check it out and all that kind of stuff. I had to go through that when I was a player in free agency. But I do think that it just sometimes just kind of lands as the same old, even though maybe there's some tweaks or differences that they're doing.
Yeah, Big Ray, I described the O-line. I said, you want the pass game to work, right? Yeah. You want the run game to work, right? Yeah. It don't work without them. They are the catalyst. They're the connection between everything you want an offense to do. And we keep hearing about this new Kubiak offense, how it benefits the smaller guard or interior offensive lineman because of the zone. When you look at what's here right now, do you see smaller offensive linemen that can help with that?
Well, the thing, and I'm glad you kind of tossed that out there, Bump, because the thing that's been frustrating me more than anything lately is all the freaking talk about the zone block metrics and who got graded this, that, and the other thing. And it's just like, holy crap. Like, I've never had to think about offensive line play like that. And it's almost as if no one's watching film or putting any trust in, like, the development of players. They're just looking at the metrics and some measurement. And I don't even know who created the metrics. Did that person even play football? Did that person even block the zone scheme? Do they even know what the zone scheme is? Like, there's a whole lot of people talking about who can and can't do it, who've never even laced them up and can't even tell you the first technique and how to do the zone blocking, and so that part of it is a little bit frustrating. I played with big dudes, small dudes, smart dudes, dumb dudes, fast dudes, slow dudes, tall dudes, short dudes, unathletic dudes, all of them. I haven't played with one single dude that could not zone block. and that's what I played in after my first year. That's the only system I played in my entire career. And Howard Mudd, when he came to Seattle, along with the guys in Denver, was one of the best at coaching it. And so we ran inside zone, outside zone, and we had different sized dudes that can do it. And so there's G. Scott said the other day, like, hey, nobody's talking about coaching and development. They're just talking about the players. Man, that's all I've been talking about. Like the development of players, play calling, play design, all of that stuff goes into developing an offensive line and an offensive lineman. And so you can crunch the zone block metrics and the this metrics and the pro football focus, this, that, and other thing, and then you're taking pressure off of coaches. Like, that's what you get paid to do. You get paid to coach and develop them. So if it's not working, either you're just not getting your talent evaluation is bad, your development process is bad, or your coaching process is bad. And because, like, you should be able to do it. It's not a difficult thing to do. And so it frustrates me listening to all of the analysis about my gosh, like if I see zone block measurement one more freaking time on Twitter or something, I think I might lose my brain. But it's not really that difficult. And so, like, maybe they prefer a different sized person to do it, but I don't. In my history with it, and I've blocked it for 8-9 years in NFL. The only running system that I mainly blocked with Barry Sanders, who was more of a cutback type of dude, scat back guy, with Chris Warren, who was a bigger 6'2", 220-pound power speed running back to and James Stewart, who was a little bit combination of both of those dudes. So it's I've blocked it with all different types of running backs with all different types of dudes beside me. And so it is a coaching thing, a technique thing, a development thing, and they just need to get some dudes in here and then start coaching them up.
Ray, what zone metrics are you seeing, man? I'm glad I haven't seen those.
Yeah, like no one's like putting out the actual number, but it's like, oh, well, his zone blocking grade wasn't great, or like I'm like, what zone blocking grade? Like what are we talking about? And so it's just, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, bro. So I'm just going to keep it at that. But there's enough people talking about, like, oh, well, zone blocking measurement or grade or whatever. And it's just like, what? Like, like you just kind of, to me, it comes down a lot to some people that don't really know the game. I'm not going to say they don't know the game, but their experience with the game is studying the numbers and not really knowing the actual concepts and things. Mm-hmm. And so you have to, you can't go by numbers alone, which it seems like, a lot of people like to do, and they spit out all the metrics. And you can't just go by the narrative along. So it takes both of those things, totally different personalities, totally different skill sets. And he was able to coach to each skill set so that we could perform the block perfectly or the way we needed to block it. The same way Pete put together all those different personalities on the Legion of Boom and reacted to them differently, but in a way that he can get all of them to do one thing great together. And so that is what development is. That is what coaching is. It ain't just saying like, hey, well, the grade says he can't do it. Let's find a guy that can.
Yep.
It's like, no, dude, you get paid to coach. You get paid, the scouting team gets paid to scout. Whatever the development process is, you're paying someone to put that together. Put that stuff into work. Put that to action. Like, get some dudes in there and put them in that system. And if it ain't working, then maybe you need to change the system.
Well, yeah, and I mean, to your point, I think that we all overlook development with almost any position after they're drafted. I mean, the way everyone's talking about the Seahawks this year, and it makes sense, is, well, what are you going to do with these draft picks? And it's like, well, hang on. What are you going to continue to do with Devin Witherspoon? What are you going to continue to do with Charles Cross? What are you going to do with these guys that you've spent capital on to make sure they continue to grow? Why do you think that offensive line development is overlooked so much? And I ask that, Ray, because I think that, for instance, there are a couple guys here that you do think have more potential that some people are already writing off.
Well, I think too, like Stacy, like honestly, like it is a real mindset.
Yeah.
Because there are teams that are developing linemen, and so like just about any other business or organization, if you really want to know what people are focusing on, what's important to them, look where the money is. And on this team is no different. Like the offensive line, I think by the metric, if you want to call it, is usually in the lower part of the league as it relates to how much money is spent there. So that probably has something to do to it. So that has something to do with your mindset on how you approach it. Like I'm a dude, like I'm not. If you watch how I dress and the shoes and clothes I wear, I don't really care. And so I don't put a whole lot of money into it. So if you want to know what's important to me, you can go like, oh, yeah, the clothes ain't that important to him. You know what I'm saying? And if I'm complaining about my clothes, then you should probably say, hey, well, Ray, like spend some freaking money on your clothes. You know what I'm saying? So when I think about the Seahawks, it's the same way. To me, it's like, where is the money going? And it's going to like if you think of it as a car, it's going to like the leather on the seats, it's going to the stereo, it's going to the subwoofers, it's going to the wheels and the tires. But the engine are the dudes that are up front making it all work. And so like you gotta put some time and energy. You gotta go into the garage and pop the hood and check the oil and check the spark plugs and do all those different things to make that thing run well. And so I just think it's a mindset and a perspective thing. When the conversation about offensive line around here is always like the word usage is always like it's a lesser than, or if we see someone that is more impactful than, and it's like, why don't you ever talk about the offensive lineman in those terms? Like the offensive lineman is more than, and the other thing is lesser than. And so it's a mindset to me that I hear that is a little bit frustrating, but hopefully with a new staff, with a new fresh set of eyes on it, some new dudes that have had some success with offensive linemen, hopefully then that will then be the cream that rises to the top, and then they can get some stuff done on the offensive line.
Big Ray, I never got your thoughts on this, but just the Sam Darnold situation and Geno not being here, DK, what do you think this team is doing, and do you like the direction that they were kind of forced to go?
Yeah, like it's the one thing I will say is that I think the word that John used was they had to pivot. I don't think they went into any of these negotiations thinking that those two dudes were not going to be here. And so they had to then do something. And so I think they made the best out of the situation. They got a good haul back from DK in the trade. And then, with Geno, they were able to then parlay that into Sam Darnold, who looks like he could be, I think you guys were talking about whether he's Geno 2.0 or whatever. And I like the way you said it, Bump, that they're kind of like stepbrothers. Like it's not like they're the same, but they have some similarities. And then hopefully they can then keep continuing to develop him. And, he has some tools. He has some weaknesses like everyone else. And so hopefully, they can build around him, including the offensive line as tools and weapons, to give him a chance to be successful and be here for a while. If not, it seems like the contract is structured in a way that they can get out of it and jump into the draft. I think probably next year's group of quarterbacks are probably a little more highly rated than this year's. So I think they've done themselves well considering the situation they were put into, losing two of your best players.
He is Big Ray Roberts, kind enough to join us on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Thanks, Ray.
Big Ray.
Yep, you guys have a good one.
See ya. I loved, as does the rest of the Mac and Jack's text line, because I'm seeing so many people text in about it, Ray's analogy about the car engine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm sure we've all heard of an offensive line is described as the foundation of anything. So an engine would be the foundation of a car, but it's so true. I mean, Ray's saying, look, when people can say whatever they want about the offensive line, but look at where investments are made. Look at where draft picks are made. Look at how a team talks about the offensive line, how they develop the offensive line. Are their actions showing you that they care about the offensive line? It certainly doesn't seem like that with Seattle. He mentioned, it's kind of seen as a means to an end instead of an actual weapon you can have. I thought that was so insightful.
I don't think the Hawks don't care about the offensive line. I think they believe that engine will perform at a higher rate than if they were to go out there and really invest in it. For some reason, I don't get it. They want that V6 to perform like a V8. It's like, nah, you got a V6. So, yeah, I like that analogy too. They care, obviously, but they don't care in the way that some other organizations care.
Well, and it's just weird to hear. Granted, you are always I don't want to say victim of circumstance, but if you are turning to free agency for help with your offensive line, well, guess what? You got to deal with other teams that want to get those offensive linemen. Like, there is context to who you can and can't add. That being said, if you want to be a team that runs the ball more, John Schneider said outright, verbatim, we need to run the ball.
Right.
He said that all throughout the combine. Anytime he was interviewed by anyone, we need to get back to running the football. Well, all right, man. You think that Ken Walker not being healthy was the reason you were 28th in rushing yards per game? Really?
No, it's a combo. That didn't help.
It didn't help, but I mean,
that didn't help.
Come on now.
He could, and I think that probably doesn't get enough attention too, because I think K9's running style killed a lot of runs. Like, I watch football games. I watch every game with Big Ray, and he says some of the same things. Like, he's got to give that run a chance. Like, when you are the basic teaching of running any type of zone, you have a gap that you have to press for at least 2 to 3 steps, right? You press the gap and you allow the linebackers to react. That will help your offensive linemen handle double teams and work up to the linebacker spot. And he would just get it. And as soon as both feet hit the ground, he's looking for the cutback, not giving it a chance. So therefore, those offensive linemen look worse than what they really are at the same time. What also didn't give these offensive linemen a chance was just the play calling and asking Geno to get into a 5-step drop, pat the ball, climb up in the pocket, and throw. You do that multiple times, it's hard for that offensive line to stop these edge runners in these 1 and 3 techniques. So it was I think the offensive line definitely needs to get better, but there were some decisions made by players and coaches that made them look worse than what they are.
What did you?
Not the best offensive line.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm looking at the players and coaches and thinking, man, y'all not helping them right now.
I know you and Ray were getting fired up about the wide zone stuff, or not necessarily. I shouldn't say about the wide zone stuff. About the idea that these metrics that you can measure, this guy just isn't going to be.
I can't stand that. I mean, look, listen. There's some truth to that stuff because they're not just making things up, but there are. For every action, there's a reaction, and that's all that is. The offensive line is acting, and then the defense is reacting, and you're going back and forth. So if you're going to judge a man on this zone block, like, was it set up? Did they have numbers to that side of the box? Should the quarterback have checked out of that? Like, there are other factors that aren't going to show up in the metrics. So I take the metrics for what it is. But like Ray was saying, that's why you got to go watch. That's why with this offensive line stuff, I'm telling you my process is look at these numbers, go watch the film, and check in with Big Ray and see what he thinks and if he's seeing some of the same things, man. So there's a lot of things. And when you try to simplify, you make it even that much more complicated, honestly.
I only have like 2 minutes, so I think I'm going to skip 4 downs and just ask you a couple questions from listeners. Someone said Kubiak doesn't care if it's a V6 bump. He's going to supercharge what we have. He sees what the components can do and that they can handle.
All right, I'm with that. Supercharge that thing.
Do you think you can supercharge this thing? Like, do you think that there is untapped potential with what the pieces the Seahawks have right now? They will add. They got 10 draft picks.
Yeah.
They know they need to add interior linemen. They will add. But do you think there's untapped potential with the offense as a whole, the pieces, including non-offensive linemen?
Supercharge, we'll see. Can you get a better performance out that engine? I think so. And how do you do that? You get your oil change, fluids and all that stuff checked, rotate your tires. Like there are things that you do to the engine and that you do to the rest of the car to kind of help this thing go. That's my focus with Kubiak. To supercharge, you need to add parts to that thing.
Yeah.
And the parts are going to be in free agency and in the draft.
And coaching can also be hugely impactful, as will scheme. I mean, I think that I'm thinking of like back when, and I was going to ask Ray about this, but then he, as part of an answer, talked about the impact of his offensive line coach when he was here. But when we were talking about Hank Fraley as a possible fit for the Seahawks, and look at him, he's the offensive line coach for the Lions, look how great they are, I saw a lot of, well, what's he even do? They have so much talent. I do think that there's kind of an oversight of positional coaches. Just the idea that, like, you are who you are as a player. You're drafted, you're good, or you're drafted and you're bad. And the development angle is completely ignored, as is additional development. Maybe Charles Cross does grow under the new offensive line coach and offensive scheme that they have here.
You can always learn something. You can always learn something new. Like my rule for players and for coaches, I'm like, if you are not constantly learning in this game, you're dying. You're slowly dying in this game because there's a reason why we see the 3-4 come to light as of late. The nickel get paid more now. Offenses spread it out a bit more because guys are learning how to exploit matchups or use their personnel in a certain way. So that's part of the development is that you can be a 10-year vet. You're going to be able to grab something from a new coach because he's going to say something in a way you've never heard it before. He'll give you a different angle from things, man. When you look at, I can look at this dang computer from different angles, and I might notice something by sitting on the chair to my right that I don't notice sitting right in front of it every day. That's how you got to look at football. You got to check all the angles and make sure that, when something pops up, you're learning from it, and then you share the knowledge.
Yeah.
That's what we're hoping this new staff will come over here, share some new knowledge, and hopefully supercharge that engine.
See, the computer thing could just be, that could be unrelated. That could be like you need readers. Let's get to what's on tonight.
What's on tonight with Bump and Stacy, brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook at Muckleshoot. Now, here's what's on tonight.
Listen to the Mariners' spring training game against the Brewers tonight at 7 p.m. on Seattle Sports. Plus, I'm being told a new episode of Daredevil Born Again airs tonight. Will we finally see the return of Frank Castle? Matt?
It's the best show on television right now.
Okay.
It's so good.
Okay.
Everyone should watch.
Coming up next, Ryan Rowland-Smith hit us with an all-time cliche, but it is true about the Mariners this year. So what sports cliche is true about the Seahawks in 2025? That's next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk. Weekdays 6 to 10.
Sam Darnold, new quarterback for your Seattle Seahawks.
Feeling so welcome, the second that I walked in the building. Really looking forward to also just playing games at Lumen Field. Those fans are electric, to say the least. Man, I'm just so excited to call myself a Seahawk and just, make that home for, hopefully years to come.
Hear the rest of this interview on demand at seattlesports.com and on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
The Gene Simmons Band, live Tuesday, April 8th at Muckleshoot Event Center. He's the God of Thunder. He's going to rock and roll all night and bring you an unforgettable night of head-banging rock and roll. Get tickets now at muckleshootcasino.com. The Gene Simmons Band, only at Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed the musty smell in your home? I hope not, because damp smells mean that you could have a crawl space problem. That's where Groundworks comes in. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to waterproof your crawl space and get to the root cause of the problem. Schedule your free inspection at groundworks.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Mornings can start feeling the same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work. But with breakfast from Wendy's, it's like, wake up, brush teeth, Baconate with a breakfast Baconator. Roll with the sausage breakfast burrito. Buddy it up with a honey buddy. Or get seasoned with seasoned potatoes. And then go to work. Sorry. When you're ready for a fresh wake-up call, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Washington State ranks number 5 in the country for auto theft. The most high-risk vehicles are Kia, Hyundai, Ford F-150, F-250, and F-350. Help keep your car safe with these simple and important tips. Don't leave your car running unattended. Park in well-lit areas. Lock up every time. Keep valuables out of sight. Use an anti-theft device like a steering wheel lock. Share this information with friends and family. Prevent the theft and keep you and your vehicle safe. These tips brought to you by the Washington Auto Theft Prevention Authority.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Watch your favorite show live at seattlesports.com.
If you're looking for a new Mazda, go see our friends at Mazda of Everett. With over 790 new Mazdas in stock at 11409 Highway 99 in Everett, they have something for every budget and credit type. Save up to $3,970 on new Mazda CX-5s. Come meet the team and see why they've been Washington's largest Mazda dealer since 2015. Exceptional service and always their lowest prices. Visit in-store or online at MazdaofEverett.com today. MSRP for stock number 26315 is $30,585.
Spring is here. Start your home improvement projects and save with Washington Energy's Spring Savings Event. Enhance your home with 20% off high-quality Anderson windows and enjoy energy savings as well as the modern or traditional window styles you love. For an entirely fresh look for your home, invest in beautiful interior and exterior doors from Codell. Expertly installed by Washington Energy Services and also 20% off. Great financing and service you can trust make Washington Energy Services the clear choice. Call today for a free estimate.
Hey, this is a great deal. Riverside Roofing is offering $1,000 off a new roof replacement, incentivizing homeowners like you to book their roof replacement right now. It's Mike Salk here, and this is a great time to do it. The days are getting longer. Post 7 p.m. sunsets, those crews can get your roof done quick, just in time for the spring rains to keep your home dry and protected. Here's what you got to do to claim your $1,000 off from Riverside Roofing. Book a free estimate from their website, riversideroofingllc.com, and when you meet with Brandon, that's Don's son, tell him you heard the message on the radio station. $1,000 back in your pocket and a brand new roof over your head. Be sure to ask Brandon about their 35 years of local experience, their GAF Master Elite certification, which puts them in the top 3% of roofers nationally, and the catch-all system, which they use to keep your yard and driveway totally free of debris like nails and shingles. It's all at riversideroofingllc.com. Tell them Mike Salk sent you. Go to Riverside Roofing, the roofing company you can trust. trust.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy
Weekdays 10 to 2.
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
I'm like days late with this story, but before we dive into sports cliches that will be true for the Seahawks in 2025, MLB's overlap caps, was that a joke? This was real?
Dead serious from Fanatics, yeah. They did that for real? I thought that was like a little homie company that got licensing and said, you know what, let's get it.
I mean, if you're looking at these, these are, the AL West has the best ones for sure. But the overlap caps, yeah, the first time I saw it, I thought it was a joke.
Like I thought it was a little company. It showed up on my Instagram or something like that. I'm like, oh, this must be like a mom and pop.
I got to find some. Okay. We are moving on. Rowland-Smith hit us with an all-time cliche that would be true about the Mariners this year. And he admitted it, like kind of tongue-in-cheek, was joking. But he was like, look, you can't win a World Series in April, but you can lose it. And I think that's going to be true because the Mariners simply cannot bury themselves early. All that you can hope is that you keep pace in a tight division. And ultimately, that's what he was saying. And he was right. But he admitted it was a cliche. But I thought we'd do the same exercise because sometimes sports cliches are true.
Mm-hmm.
They're cliches for a reason because most of the time it's accurate. Most of the time it matters. So we've got a couple different cliches that we can go through. But what's a sports cliche that will absolutely be true for the Seahawks in 2025? Feel free to join in on the text line.
Mine are one of them. It's a game of inches because you need to win those small battles. And if they do that, game of inches, that right guard gets to that 3-tech. Game of inches, that receiver gets his left hand inside and drives that safety or DB inside. It's a game of inches. K9 takes one or two more steps downhill before he looks for the cutback. It's a game of inches, and if they can execute just a little bit better than the ops, then I think this team could win a couple more games.
I think that's an especially true cliche for a team that was the only double-digit win team not in the playoffs. I mean, you mentioned, I know that we all collectively left this season, feeling like, it wasn't good enough. This is so frustrating. I hate this team being in the middle. But you're exactly right. If you execute a little bit more, if a point after touchdown attempt by Jason Myers is a couple inches the other way, you beat the Rams 21-20. Don't go into overtime, and you're in the playoffs.
If Reek just puts his hands out to attack that football.
Inches.
Game of inches.
Yeah.
You beat the Rams.
The cliche, though, meant to show you that in this case it is true about the Seahawks. What about, I'm with John and Everett on this one, and it's another one I was thinking of, defense wins championships. You have no choice but to make that true for the Seahawks in 2025 because I simply don't know what your offense is going to look like.
The defense has to lead the charge. We thought that was going to be the case last year, ended up being the offense, and then the defense took over halfway through. But when we're talking about this not being a rebuild or retool or whatever the heck, it's because we look at the defense and we figure there's enough talent over there with Leo and Ernest and Spoon and J Love and Kobe to where you feel like, all right, defense, you come out hot and let this offense kind of find their footing and find their groove, and you should be okay.
Yeah, I think, too, it lines up. We were just talking with Ray, and he said, look at where a team spends money and invests their resources. This team's done that on defense of late. The highest cost free agent John Schneider ever signed was Dre Jones, not here anymore, but just gave a huge deal to DeMarcus Lawrence. The highest draft pick John Schneider has ever made was on defense, still with this team, obviously, with Devin Witherspoon. The last two extensions this team offered to big-time starters were on defense with Ernest Jones and the year prior Leonard Williams. I mean, this team has invested resources in defense, and they need it to pay off. Do you think they could be a top 5 unit? Like, what do they need to do?
Sack the quarterback, cause turnovers, win ball games. I think they can. There's a talent over there for them to do it. I'm starting at top 10, and then talk to me halfway through, and there might be potential for these guys to be a top 5. All
right, what's another sports cliche that you think, no, this is actually going to ring true? Like, they actually do need to do this.
Overcome adversity. Got to overcome adversity. Any sport, any competition, you can be playing Connect 4, man. Overcome adversity. Block them there and stack them over there so you get your Connect 4. Overcome adversity because it's inevitable. There are going to be times. I'm going out on a limb here. Sam Darnold is going to throw a pick or two.
What?
Okay, he's going to throw a pick or two.
With that attitude?
And the defense is going to be backed up in their own territory. and they're going to have to hold them to 3, and we are going to cheer because we will take that 3 over 7 points. The defense, they're going to give up a big play. There's going to be a drive, either a 70-yard bomb or a 12-play, 8-minute drive that put points on the board and jacks up your offense's rhythm and chemistry or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, you got to overcome some adversity. It's going to happen.
Somewhat related in terms of mindset or how you see the season, how they see the season. Christian, the 206, says, I'm going to go with one game at a time. But I think it's really easy to get caught up in expectations or predictions, but we control our own destiny 1 week at a time. I think this is how we're going to have to watch this season. One game at a time, 1 week at a time. It's easy to overreact in the NFL, and you kind of should sometimes. There's 17 games. A loss matters. 2, 3, 4, 5 losses matters. But I think that this is going to be a team that is growing and learning. You once again have an offensive coordinator who's new. Once again, you're going to have all these new pieces. Mike McDonald in just his second season. The idea is growth, not perfection.
Yeah. Perfection it's impossible.
Absolutely impossible. Tell me what you think of this. 415 says pass to score, run to win.
Yeah, I can see that. They want to be a run-first team, and the teams who ran the ball the best had the deeper runs into the playoffs as well, minus the Kansas City Chiefs. But, yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
If you guys have more, someone's making fun of the way I'm saying cliché.
How are you saying it?
Cliché? A cliché?
Cliché.
Well, whatever. Who cares?
I say cliche.
Then get your own radio show. 866-979-3776. If you have more cliches that you want to send in that you think will be true for the Seahawks. What about they can't beat themselves?
Yeah. No snaps over the head. No red zone turnovers, especially down on the 5 with a few minutes to go.
Come on.
No, I mean, some of this stuff, it's still going to happen. It's like it just can't happen in crucial moments. Like there's going to be a fumble. Somebody's going to fumble. Remember my coach, Tom Salter, told me my first game on varsity, he goes, look, man, you're going to fumble. All right, you're going to drop a pass. He was trying to calm me down. Like, you're going to make mistakes.
Did you?
Okay, just not in that game, no. But eventually, yeah, you fumble, you drop a pass, do all that stuff. I like the one, we must play within ourselves. Like, you play your game. And your game's going to be run first, boot, action, go across the middle, defense, turn the ball over. Like, play within yourselves. And the coaches have to understand that, too, so they call the proper plays for that personnel.
Yeah. Ooh, very related, like a know who you are. You said play your game, and I know sometimes you have to adjust, but I don't know how much of a cliche know who you are is for a team, but I'm just desperate for this team. I want to know who this team is. That's what I want. It's really about me. I'm projecting. I want to know who the Seahawks are, and I want to know what to expect. It doesn't have to mean I'm expecting a win. It doesn't have to mean that they're always going to win the same way. But, like, I know who the Ravens are. I know who the Bills are. I know who the Chiefs are. I know who the Chargers want to be. I know who the Jags want to be. You know what I mean? Like, you can kind of center. Who are the Seahawks?
Last year, a pass-happy team that found defense late.
Exactly.
This year,
who?
I want you to be a run-first team that causes turnovers on defense. If you can do that, run first team with some explosives, cause turnovers on defense, let's go.
Let's see, 866-979-3776. Let's see, do your job.
Yeah,
I mean,
simple.
That's very fair.
Simple.
Games are won and lost in the trenches.
Yep.
Yes.
100%.
Absolutely. All right. Get your questions in for What I Need to Know, 866-979-3776. Any question, text it now to the Mac and Jacks text line, 866-979-3776.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob. Weekdays 2 to 7.
Four-time Pro Bowl defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence is now a Seattle Seahawk. This will be his 12th season.
It shouldn't be a surprise from the standpoint of, like, last year, the first move they made was D-line, and it was to sign Leonard Williams. They're going to build up that defensive line, and, you know, it's actually looking pretty good. We still have a first-rounder from last year that has yet to explode.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Who has some of the best deals on new Fords and Isuzus in the Pacific Northwest? Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Who has a large selection of the highest quality used vehicles in the Pacific Northwest? Wayscar Ford in Auburn. What dealership promises no games, no gimmicks, and never any pressure to purchase? That would be Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Who's the only Ford dealer in all of Washington State to offer a 5-day or 500-mile, no questions asked, 100% money-back return policy? Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Who offers a free lifetime powertrain warranty on virtually all their new Fords? Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Who's the only dealer that will purchase your used car, pay you right up front, and then once they resell your old car, return 50% of the profit back to you? And what dealer has given back over $750,000 to customers who have sold them their cars? Only Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Finally, what dealership has been family-owned and operated in Auburn for 103 years? You guessed it, Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Visit them at wayscarford.com.
Can you take the power of your home internet almost anywhere? Well, with Xfinity, you can. Do more of what you love in the places you go the most with internet and mobile together. Xfinity built a network that's 99.99% reliable. Plus, Xfinity Mobile has Wi-Fi Power Boost, giving you ultra-fast Wi-Fi at home and on the go. Get the same reliable network in the places you need the most. The coffee shop, the grocery store, or the game. All to power more of what you love, whether you're a gamer, streaming, or work from home. Whatever you're into, you'll love how fast you can do it with Xfinity Internet and Mobile. And now through April 21st, get 300 megabit Xfinity Internet and one unlimited mobile line together for $25 a month for 1 year with no annual contract. And save $1,000 in your first year over Verizon and AT&T. Plus, ask how to get a free premium 5G phone. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra after promo. Regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary. Savings compared to Verizon 5G, Internet plus one unlimited welcome line, and AT&T Internet 300 plus one unlimited starter SL line. Xfinity Internet required. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabits of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual savings vary.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is for you too. Stubborn fat is really hard to get rid of, and then there's all those gimmicky lasers, fat freezing methods, and prescriptions. Imagine a simple solution that takes just 1 day and provides immediate noticeable results. Introducing ProSculpt. ProSculpt uses air-assisted technology that's safe and gentle yet powerful, delivering instant fat-reducing and skin-tightening results. Performed by board-certified plastic surgeons while fully awake, ProSculpt contours your body with minimal downtime. It's designed to target those problem areas: waistline, neck, face, arms, thighs. ProSculpt gently removes unwanted fat and tightens loose skin with FDA-cleared plasma technology, all in a simple, guaranteed 1-day procedure. ProSculpt is one and done. Schedule your free consultation at prosculpt.com for $250 off. For powerful permanent fat removal and skin tightening that works for ladies and you men, it's prosculpt.com.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on seattlesports.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
Do you need a new roof? Don't wait for summer to replace it. 3 Tree Roofing is here to help you save big this winter. Avoid summer's higher prices and longer wait times and protect your home's integrity now. Visit 3treeroofing.com for your free on-site estimate. Our certified installers make it easy and worry-free, no matter the season. Don't wait. Book your estimate today at 3treeroofing.com. Mention this ad and get $500 off your roof replacement. 3 Tree Roofing, your Puget Sound roofing experts.
The brackets are now open. Compete in the Seattle Sports Bracket Bucks presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort. Head to seattlesports.com/win to pre-register. Receive your bracket and compete for your shot at great prizes. The grand prize winner from the 64-team bracket will win $1,000 in Visa gift cards. But if your bracket is busted in the first round, we have other ways for you to play too. Register and find complete rules at seattlesports.com/win.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto Family.
Hello. Welcome to Lee Johnson Auto Family. This is King. This organization's a special one. They call it the Lee Johnson Auto family, and it's not just a name. It's not just some cliche. They foster an environment for us to become a family, to work together, to really become close. And they show us in a lot of different ways that they do value us. Is it perfect? No, no place is. But I've been very thankful to be here in the almost 10 years and have every plan to stay here for a lot longer and just watch it continue to grow.
He's fun and professional, which explains why so many people visiting Lee Johnson Kia ask for him by name. The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
It's what I need to know. Get your questions in to the Mac and Jack's text line, 866-979-3776. A sad one to lead off, but one that's important. It's 3 years since John Clayton's passing today. Any favorite Clayton memories?
Clayton memories. So we used to, he hopped on our show pre and post game. And on the pre, it's a bit more open. You ask more just random questions. And I knew one question would get a rise out of him. And I would ask him what he thought about the uniforms of the teams coming up. He'd be like, oh! I don't care about these uniforms. But he kind of leaned into it. He knew that I would ask him, not every week, but every now and then I'm asking him about that. And then just his knowledge of this contracts.
Insane.
I can ask him anything about a contract, and he had that thing. He rattled out. So just having fun with him about uniforms and then just asking about contracts.
Yes. My favorite, personal memory is when I first started as a reporter. I'm absolutely nobody to him. All I do is post his articles on forum, just get them on the website. But otherwise he has no reason to respect me or interact with me in any way. I asked him a clarifying question about a contract, and he sent back this big long explanation and was so nice about it. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. Another one would be the DirecTV showdown against DirecTV. Was one of my favorite Clayton moments of all time.
Yeah.
It's one for the ages.
He's the only celebrity I've ever taken a selfie with. I worked with him. The first time I go, John, I have to take a selfie with you.
866-979-3776. A few more questions here. What I need to know. John Cena is a bad guy now in the WWE. Who played a great bad guy in a movie or show?
Denzel Washington, Training Day. Killed the bad guy.
He's a great bad
role.
guy in general. Gladiator 2, he's a great bad guy.
Yeah.
Stole the show, I thought.
Yeah.
Heath Ledger's is such an obvious, easy answer in The Dark Knight, but it truly, it is.
That's one of the best performances I've ever seen.
Ever.
Bad guy, good guy, it don't matter. That was crazy.
Let's see, 866-979-3776. If you were to pull out a crystal ball and see the future, who do you think becomes first, second, and third receiver in terms of yardage this year?
Jason 1, Cup 2, Marquez 3.
I'm going to say...
Easy answer.
Well, check this. I'm going to say it's JSN, Cup, and then third...
A rookie?
A rookie.
Okay.
What I need to know, 866-979-3776. Why does every woman act like a couple of tiny mustache hairs accidentally left in the sink is the beginning of World War III? But it's no big deal to leave a makeup mess in the sink, so when I lean over to get a drink, I end up with a pink blob on my shirt from Casey the Barber. First of all, Casey, why are you drinking out of the bathroom sink? What do you mean when you lean over to get a drink? You mean when you put your face under...
rinse out his mouth or something.
Casey,
maybe he's rinsing out his mouth.
Casey said, when I lean over to get a drink. If you are leaning into your bathroom sink to get a drink, I have questions.
Yeah, I hope you have a filter on that thing.
I don't know why bathroom sink water is just not... It grosses me out.
Is
it the same as kitchen water?
I'm sure it is.
There's no way.
But it's because you do things in there you don't do in the kitchen.
Bathroom sink water is not meant to be drunk. You should not be touching it unless you're washing your hands. And the answer is, it is not hard to wash your little mustache beard trimmings down the drain. It's not hard.
You look at a sink and you see all the powder that's been left in there.
Wipe that up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying everyone should be cleaning up after themselves and leaving makeup or bodily hair behind.
As long as you're fair.
It is. I will apply that fairly, absolutely, because I do think it's very annoying. Having lived in a home in college, I lived with 8 girls. Makeup stains everything.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So please clean up your makeup too. But Casey, it's because it's disgusting. Stop drinking bathroom water. What I need to know. Do you think Julio lost his edge because of pressure, or was it coaching? Will Edgar make the difference?
I don't think he lost his edge. Still there.
Yeah.
Chasing edges, as Mike McDonald would say.
Exactly. Let's see. Someone said this is the best example of why everyone should shave in the shower. But how do you shave your beard in the shower?
Well, that's if you're doing razors. But I don't use razors. I use clippers. So I'm not taking my clippers in the shower.
Jeremy in Bothell says it's all the same water as your kitchen sink faucet. I don't think scientifically that
Here's the thing. I don't even drink that water.
Yeah.
Unless there's a filter on it, or I have like a Brita or whatever the heck that is.
Yeah. What have you learned in the sports radio business? If you aren't learning every day, you're dying.
Facts. I learned something new about some player every single day.
Yeah.
What I've learned, I think the main thing, or the first lesson I learned, was just to lean into anything I say and not care about what y'all text in or what people tweet. Like, tweet at me, hate on me, I could give two you-know-whats. But I learned that early because I used to always care. Oh, my God. I'm like, man, what I'm saying is coming from a place of research. I'm not shooting from the hip. So just lean into it.
That it's infinitely more interesting when people have opinions.
Yeah.
Like, I respect people whose opinions are different than mine versus people who have no opinion about anything whatsoever.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So what? And what? That's why I love it when listeners text in opinions. Even if I disagree, I'm always like, say it with your chest, man. 866-979-3776. You guys watch reality TV dating shows. We talked about cliches. What's the most cliche thing you'll hear in those?
I feel like I've known you my whole life.
Yeah, that was going to be mine.
He just knows me. No, he doesn't. He's known you for 3 days.
Also, it'll be a show like Love is Blind. If you're on a reality TV dating show, you are putting forward the version of yourself that you think other people will want. And that version is like everyone's. You know what I mean? Like, of course you guys are going to have stuff in common.
Yeah.
There was a couple on this season of Love is Blind that both like Taco Bell and Christmas. And she thought that, like, how uncanny. We both like Taco Bell and Christmas. Like, what? That's like if I was like, we both love drinking water. Oh my God. It's
we like to
crazy.
survive.
We have so much in common. Let's see, 866-979-3776. What I need to know. Everyone's just texting where they shave. I need you guys to stop. Roller skating or bowling.
I've had to pick one. I haven't roller skated in a long time. Bowling. But I would do roller skating. I just bowl.
Do you think you could roller skate right now?
Yeah, I can ice skate right now.
Who out of everyone working here do you think would be the best and worst roller skater?
Didn't Salk play hockey growing up?
Yes.
So I would assume he would be pretty good.
Maybe on the ice.
I mean, it should translate, right?
I don't know.
And then what was it, the worst?
You better not say me. There are so many other choices. Matt's sitting right there.
I want to see Dave on wheels.
Yeah, Dave got too many injuries. That hip might hurt. That knee might hurt.
I think Dave's a big dude. You know, Dave and Bob are tall. I think that'll work against them. I'm going Bob. I don't think Bob's going to be able to roller skate. I'll say it to his face.
He'll be here in a minute.
He'll be here in 30 seconds. In fact, we have to go so that we can tell them that. This has been Bump and Stacy. If you missed any part of the show, or if you loved it so much you just need to hear more, make sure you check out the Bump and Stacy podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google Play, or SeattleSports.com. Please also leave reviews if you do listen to the podcast. It matters a ton to us. We really appreciate your time. Wyman and Bob coming your way next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob. Weekdays 2 to 7.
The Sam Darnold contract details, it's essentially a one-year deal if they want to get out of this.
It looks like a good deal to me. I don't think there's anybody that could be sideways about this contract.
I think this is a great deal. I think John nailed it.
There is some question as to which Sam Darnold it is. There was those pesky 6 years where it wasn't good for Sam Darnold.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Have you considered surgery or even joint replacement? Hey, it's Dave Wyman, and before you make that decision, see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Why? Because he gives it to you straight. Dr. Wagner said my right knee needs replacement, and I appreciate his honesty and expertise. My left knee is fine right now, but the minute it isn't, I'm heading to Dr. Wagner for his expert opinion. I want to avoid another surgery, and I've heard so many patients rave about results from their 90-minute outpatient stem cell procedure with Dr. Wagner. He's a board-certified Seattle physician with over 30 years of experience and has performed more than 20,000 stem cell procedures using a person's own stem cells to regenerate cartilage in their own joints. People with severe osteoarthritis, even bone on bone, are back doing what they enjoy without pain and without surgery. Whether it's a shoulder, hip, elbow, ankle, wrist, or knee, before choosing surgery, see Dr. Mark Wagner first. Go to drmarkwagnermd.com.
This is Matt Coker from West Coast Men's Health. Has Viagra stopped working for you? Do you hate the side effects? If you've taken Viagra for any length of time, you already know that pills are not the solution to ED. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we have a better approach to ED. Acoustic wave therapy creates blood flow circulation by safely removing the plaque in your arteries and restoring function naturally. No pills, no shots, no surgery. We can also treat Peyronie's disease. Our non-invasive treatment for ED is painless and highly effective. We have treated thousands of men just like you. Stop living with this problem and do something about it. Do yourself a favor, do your partner a favor, and call us today.
Call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com. HSA cards welcome and financing available.
Over the past decade, Washington state politicians have doubled state spending with no improvements to the issues we care about. Instead, we now have the third highest cost of living in the nation and a $12 billion deficit. It's time to tell legislators we need better results, not bigger taxes. Act now at affordablewashington.org. Paid for by people for an affordable Washington and Olympia, Washington. Top 5 donors are Washington Alliance for Competitive Economy, Microsoft, Madrona, T-Mobile, and Alaska Air.
Riverside Roofing is offering $1,000 off a new roof replacement. Book a free estimate online, and when you meet with Brandon, that's Don's son, tell him you heard the message on the radio station. Go to riversideroofingllc.com. It's Riverside Roofing, the roofing company you can trust.
Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. The best place to watch all your favorite sports. Featuring wall-to-wall viewing screens, 6 windows, and 30 kiosks. Be there at emeraldqueen.com. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
Let's face it, nothing makes you look older than you really are than thinning hair. But what if you could not only increase your hair count, but promote new hair growth without surgery, without drugs with potential side effects, and without a prescription from your doctor? Well, now you can, thanks to a breakthrough new supplement called Hair Grow, provided by New Nordic, the #1 supplier of dietary supplements in Europe. Hair Grow is now available in the U.S. Only Hair Grow contains Tocogaya, a powerful antioxidant that has received a U.S. patent. Multiple clinical studies show Hair Grow is safe and effective in promoting new hair growth. In one study, 95% of the patients using Hair Grow saw increased hair count. Don't lose more time and more hair. Try Hair Grow today to feel and look your best. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS. Look younger and feel more confident with Hair Grow by New Nordic at NewNordicUSA.com or in stores at your local CVS.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car is making this noise. Sometimes it's like doot, and sometimes it's like grrr.
Do you have a dash light on?
Oh, yeah.
Then we don't have to listen for clues. With the free Fix Finder service, we can read a check engine, ABS, or maintenance light to find the likely fix and even recommend a local shop if you need one.
So you don't need to hear the grrr.
Not with Fix Finder. Free at every AutoZone.
Get in the zone.
AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying. Just beautiful.